Welcome back to Packers Derailed. I'm your host, JJ Lahey. Jake should be here in a couple minutes. You know, we'll see. And listen, I have to make an announcement here. We have our penultimate guest of this episode, Christoph Scott. You might be thinking to yourself, doesn't penultimate mean second to last? Yeah, it does. It's because we have somebody else coming on a little bit later. But Chris, you were here at the beginning. Really glad to have you on here. We're going to be discussing a topic today, Chris, that listen, you were not originally scheduled for this episode. But when you heard what the topic was going to be, you invited yourself, and I said, "All right, man, I can't leave you out when you have so much passion behind the topic we're going to be talking about tonight." So,
Sure.
Chris, thank you so much for joining the show.
Good to be here.
Where can people find you online if they're wanting to keep up with any of your content that you create? You know, you're the math whiz, the engineer, the creative wizard.
Yeah, I mean, you can look me up on Twitter, X, at Extrapolated. I'm on Substack as Christoph Scott.
You are on Substack. You've been writing for our Substack.
Yeah, we just made one.
Yeah, packerproject.substack.com. You can find Chris's latest article. Talk to us about the article because you wrote that, I think, inspired by your ideas for tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so basically what I did was take a look at all of the players that have been drafted since 2018, which is, when Goot came on board, and take a look at RAS scores, athleticism scores, versus Pro Football Reference, their weighted average value, approximation value, which is a lot to do with like meritorious awards like Pro Bowlers and snaps that they contribute to their position, and then try to see what kind of relationships there. And then on top of just looking at all players, I just singled out Brian Gutekunst's picks. So we can look at, the players he's taking and how their value translates over time from when they get drafted to today.
Tyler Dershel in the chat asks, did Christoph create a draft prospect list of players who have mustaches? If not, can we request one? I mean, Jennings Dunker's got a glorious mustache.
He does. So. I am drawn to those players, Jacob Rodriguez was like my first player that I was like, you guys got to watch this guy. Great mustache.
I always have such a hard time getting my screen to share.
It's part of
when I'm on the live screen, but
it's part of my own custom RAS scores is mustache. Right?
The mustache
you can only get a 9 on my scale unless you have a good,
the MAS, the mustache, or no, the RMS, relative mustache score. Yeah. So yeah, he's got a good mustache. He's got a good mullet. I mean, Jennings Dunker's entire hair game is absolutely fantastic. We're going to hit some of these chats here. But first, you can support the show on Venmo or Cash App. We greatly appreciate your donations for the show. The username for both of those is Packer Project. Helps keep this show running. There are some expenses for the show, believe it or not. Even though you would think, hey, it's super easy just to take 2 hours twice a week and just go, talk about nonsense and rank Godzilla movies and talk about energy drinks. I mean, frankly, the energy drinks, I'm not going to lie, like that is a not insignificant cost to our show's operating budget. Chris, I see that you have a beverage there. Do you?
It's an award-winning brew, somewhat traitorous brew to Wisconsinites, Pabst Blue Ribbon, who I believe they left for California. I think they were coming back. I don't remember if that actually happened.
All the tariffs are going to bring the jobs back from California back to Wisconsin. Jake Schyvinck, who I believe has a second job as a co-host of this podcast, asks all mustache mock draft. Not without you, buddy. Not without you. And listen, here's the thing. I have extra time tonight. I could go long tonight, which, I know to Jake, going long means a 5-hour live stream, whereas to most of us it means like anything over the scheduled 60 minutes. I could do a couple hours. I'm just saying. Tool for this says sponsor the show and the hosts will do it. Yes, Jake, there's a dono link. You just scan the Venmo. You can get us to do an all mustache mock draft. I do have my beverage for the evening. I'm going to, we're going to redact the name, but the flavor is blue raspberry. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Dershel says, JJ, when you lean your head a certain way, the Packer Project logo looks perfect on your hat. Merch sales incoming. What do you think about that?
You gotta go the other way.
Is that working? It's mirrored for me, so I gotta go like this.
Yeah.
Now does it look good?
Yeah, a little bit down.
I gotta take my mic with me.
Perfect. There we go.
There we
go. Yeah.
It's mirrored for me, so
we're gonna put an order.
I gotta go
for
over here and then
custom
it looks
hats.
right for me. Tool for this says, was Jennings Dunker the kid from Neverending Story? You know what? I saw Neverending Story when I was like 5 years old, and have never revisited it. And I think it's high past time that I do that.
Didn't they do a remake of the Neverending Story? I feel like that might have.
If
been
they have, I haven't heard of it. So we have our topic for night. We're doing the Gutey graveyard of athletic upside reaches. Every failed athletic upside Packers draft pick. So we're only doing the. I only brought numbers for the Gutekunst era. I started doing before that, and I had initially pulled numbers for all the way back to 2000, and then I realized it was going to take a miracle for me to even finish getting it filled out just for the Gutey era. With how my schedule was falling apart, and I said, you know what? The title already says Gutey anyways. We're just going to roll with it. So, now, but Chris, you brought some new charts and stuff that you wanted to show us.
Let me bring something here. See if I can grab the right screen.
Adam, I know the meme that you're referring to. I know the meme you're referring to. Someone had the... Oops, my mic fell over. Someone had the I'll do it again meme in the chat. It's the coked out Goofy. Not to be confused with coked out Gutey. There we go.
Here we go.
All right, can you zoom in a little bit so we can see that?
Yeah, let me do this. Maybe, I don't know. This might have just made it worse. This is absolutely cluttered because it is every player since 2018 on this board and the associated trend lines. If I bring it, the R-squared values to see how well this fits is very low. It's like 0.02. You can use if you're really into statistics, you can do you can create a best fit and it gets marginally better. But that 0.02 basically means that athleticism explains maybe 2% of a player's career value. So it's not a lot, but it's also maybe it's more indicative of, higher athleticism means you stay around longer because there's more hope for improvement from a team's perspective, right? And so you can build on that value that you get from having more snaps and being in the league for a longer period of time. And so
do you know if
sure.
I'm assuming that this has the ability to show us whether that is true even for later rounds of the draft, or if it's just that there could be a correlation.
If you just look at first round ones,
because we know that the guys in the first couple rounds, they do get to stick around longer.
Mm-hmm.
You look at guys like Taco Charlton, never did anything in the league and had 1,000 chances.
Right.
Or what's the first guy's first name? Smith, a linebacker. He got drafted by the Cowboys. Whatever. I
think of Cole Van Lanen, the interior offensive guard that we got in the 7th round. He actually did stick around, even though we cut him after 20 snaps.
Cole Van Lanen, we traded Van Lanen to the Jaguars. He's been playing for him.
Yeah, he had a good year this last year. You kind of wish you held on to him a little bit longer. but he only played like
Yeah, they
20
actually gave
snaps
him
that first year.
they gave him a new contract down there.
Mm-hmm.
We got like if I recall correctly, we got more for him than what we had. I think we drafted him in the 7th and got a
and got a
sixth back
sixth.
for him.
Yeah, that
I
is
think that's
like
what it was.
that
He
seems to
stuck
be
around for 1 year.
typical Gutekunst behavior is like you spend a seventh, so you get just a little bit more trade capital for the pick that you had. Just like with Dontavian Wicks, right? We could have, if we let him walk in free agency and he got that 1 year extension that he got with the Eagles, we would have gotten. What did we spend a sixth round pick on him? I think
We spent a fifth on him.
A fifth on him, and then
We got a fifth and a sixth back.
and then we got a fifth and a sixth, and the compensatory pick would have just been a sixth, I believe. So I'm like, you're kind of, you're getting that extra value by, trading them before it's all done if you're not going to re-sign them. This right here that I have on the screen is just, it's not sharing the same window.
I see your Raz versus Witted AV.
I had the, let me just switch this up one more time. I just wanted to just show the Packers. I thought I had the window selected, but
I think the only thing I don't like about the platform we use to stream, or the biggest thing I dislike about it, is how hard it is to get what I'm trying to share on screen.
So this would just be Brian Gutekunst picks. And you kind of look at it, the most recent ones obviously have the lowest value because they've only been in the league for a year. But they do.
Yeah, walk us through this. Especially
all the way up.
Some of the color coded stuff is hard for us to see. So if you can kind of hold our hand and baby us through this.
Right. So you have like this linear trend line 2024. This one that's going like this is 2025, right? You let that stick around a couple more years, and I'm sure it's going to follow the same path as your more athletic people stick around longer and gain that more value and gain a little bit more value, right? So you're just getting 1 year of values here. And, it's basically the same as the entire league where you have this trend of just going a little bit up and to the right of these guys sticking around longer and longer. And I did have a filter when I was going through this just to look at day 1 and day 2, just day 1 and day 3. And it's pretty much the same pattern. That guys who are more athletic just get to stick around. Your Kalen Kings of the world. I think he had a poor RAS, but we took him in the 7th. I don't think I think he was picked up by Arizona, but I think they may have released him. So like if you don't have that extra thing to your name, they're pushing you out of the building.
It just now dawned on me that Jake is not joining. I just remembered he's not joining, and that he told me ahead of time he wasn't going to be here. I'm the greatest podcast host in the world.
I thought he was like, it was up in the air. He wasn't sure.
No, I even texted Jake and was like, dude, we're live. And he's in our chat. I'm like, is he just not joining? So I checked my schedule, and I see I have a note next to today which says, oh, Brian and Chris are coming on today, and no Jake. Oh, and Chris died. There we go.
Put the wrong screen. I'm going to show this one other thing.
While you're loading that, Chris the Casual N, We Fence for Life, says, Christoph, question 1, is Goot a top 25% GM?
Do I like Goot?
And question 2,
I think I like him as a GM outside of the draft. His free agency moves tend to be the things that I don't think there's been one that I've disagreed with outside of the Aaron Banks move. But like even the free agency ones, like picking up Bo Melton. We picked up Nebraska tight end whose name escapes me, who played just a couple snaps for us. And I'm like, these guys they just made a lot of sense to pick up. I think McAllen Castles, was he not drafted by someone else? We just
got released today.
I saw that. But like those are the kind of guys I like to see picked up, because it's like these are guys who I had as projected undrafted free agents. Who it's like if they don't work out on a team, pull them in just to be there, see what they have, because there's no real risk to you. Maybe pay them a little bit.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that you made. And Drew said we got to count the trades too. I think his trades have
Mhm.
been large, have been pretty good. Chris mentioned the Rasul Douglas trade that we did get a third round pick for Rasul, which was,
Mhm.
looking back, it's kind of crazy. Um, and I think I lean toward agreeing with you.
Mhm.
I was a bigger fan of his drafts a couple of years ago. I thought like
He had a
22 and
couple of
23 were really good.
Mhm.
Um,
And then the last two have been kind of like, you're just like, why? I don't know. Like maybe maybe Hopper can step up. I like to think so. I mean, but it's just this guy wasn't even on my board for a reason because there were so many people around him that had better value. And
so
so,
I'm kind of cracking up. I'm looking at your spreadsheet here,
yeah,
and then here's the one I brought. We both like made kind of looks like kind of the same thing.
yeah, yeah,
So I want to let's look at yours and we'll look at mine and we'll see
sure.
where they kind of differ.
So,
So Adam, here, hold on a second. Adam Huddle says, "Shout out JJ Sheet. Got a date with it after the stream is over." Adam, could you have worded that in a slightly less questionable way? Adam does not have a date with my sheets. Not tonight, anyways. But I do have. I published my draft database for the 2026
mm,
year. So you guys, anybody who is subscribed to this YouTube channel, you can go access it. You've seen it before. I mean, like every year you'll see glimpses of it as we're doing the drafts. I pull it up. I got like all the info on all the players. You guys can have it for free as long as you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. So there is a link in the description of this podcast episode. You can go find it down there. If for whatever reason you're having a hard time getting access to it or whatever, just shoot me a message. I'll hook you up with it for free. This is not my big board. This is not my rankings. You're not going to find, oh, this is JJ's wide receiver 3. It's not what you're going to find in here. What you are going to find is, hey, how do these guys fit with the Packers' thresholds and trends? What are all the measurements on all these guys? What are they good at? What are they not good at? It's a pretty comprehensive thing, and it's helpful when you are trying to learn something about a prospect. Trust me, there's going to be some guys that we draft next week who you're going to be like, I don't know who the heck that is. Hopefully he's going to be in this draft database, and you can go and find him on there. Usually every year there's like something happens, at least in undrafted free agency where there's like a guy or two who's just not in this at all. And you look at the consensus big board, and it's like the number 900 player, and we took him in the 7th round or whatever, and it's like, all right, sorry, I only had 2,000 players, and I managed to not include the number 900 player, so sorry about that. But go find it, you'll love it. All right, back to you, Chris.
all right. So what I have here, these are all of Brian Gutekunst's draft prospects.
Can you zoom in a little bit so we can see it better?
Sure. Um,
That's better.
so I have, year round pick. This is the hit rate associated with the pick that they're making just across the NFL. It's not position specific, although that varies. It's just a general number. Their player name, their RAS score, their weighted career value, that career value over 4 years. Because I'm looking at, and then this is a weighted grade that factors in the average value plus their grades from PFF. Of course, that's normalized with their snap counts. So if you had a 72 and 960, that weighs more than your 82 that only had 500 snaps. If that makes sense. And then that's factored in with your weighted grade to give you this weighted grade value. And then there's an expectation score, which is based on how much draft capital we spent and the hit rate. You factor these two things in. I expect to get to you to perform at a certain level. And so what is your sort of grade that factors in your grade and your weighted approximation value? What is that with respect to the expectations?
Okay.
So
So
you can see like these blue names, these are all guys who got second contracts, and they're right
For
at
the audio only crowd, can you give us some of those
Sure.
names who are
Sure.
on here?
So the expectation score kind of goes from 100 to it goes. I think it goes down to like -20. The highest names are from scores of 71 to 50. Elton Jenkins, Jordan Love, Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary, Zach Tom. They all got second contracts.
So when Elton Jenkins has an expectation score of 71, that means what?
That means that because he was a 44th pick, which has a draft cost of about 460, depending on what board you're looking at, and a hit rate of about 33%. If you take his general grade of 85 and subtract that from the expectation of the draft capital with respect to the hit rate, you get this grade score of a 71. So if you're a 7th round pick, you already have low expectations. Having a high grade means more, right? If you are picked number 1 overall, there are high expectations, so you're expected to do a little bit more. So I just want you to guess, if you're thinking of somebody who has high expectations or low expectations who's performed really poorly, I want you to just kind of maybe take a guess at who you might think might be at the bottom of the list.
Who might be at the bottom?
Yeah.
So I would think that Jordan Morgan probably ranks pretty low because he just hasn't had a lot of playing time. And for being a first-round pick at a premium position who's now been in the league for a few years, I would think that the lack of playing time has got to hurt him a lot. Am I thinking the right way here?
Yes. Okay. There's one person who really stands out in my mind, and just seeing him at the bottom just hurts me a little bit because I was a big fan.
Josh Jackson?
No, actually. You mean Super Bowl? Or I actually thought he did go to a Super Bowl because he's with the Chiefs, but that was the year before where they just made it to the AFC Championship, and I don't think he was playing.
Okay, so this is somebody we drafted really highly who
hasn't lived up to their expectations, and I'll just sort it for you to
let's see what the answer is. So I was wondering about Lucas Van Ness, but then I thought like maybe. And I guess it would have to be him because he was drafted so much earlier than Jordan Morgan was. So for him to similarly not have had a lot of playing time yet, been in the league 1 year longer than Morgan, he'd have to rank that highly. Yeah.
You have Jay Sternberger, who kind of bombed out. Marshawn Lloyd, who really hasn't played a snap. Mari Rogers, who got traded right away. Luke Musgrave's kind of up here. Joshua Jackson's up here. Savion Williams, who didn't get to play that much. I think your favorite player is up here, Mr. Travis Glover. Devontae Wyatt is on here.
Now, Devontae makes a lot of sense because he has missed so much time due to injury, and his first, I think, 2 years in the league, he wasn't a starter. So that makes a lot of sense. Despite the fact that when he's been on the field, he's been really good. He's just had such a small snap count.
I'm looking for Jordan Morgan, and I don't see him offhand. I'm wondering if I may have missed him in the filters.
Nope, hold on. He's right there. He's right below Matthew Golden.
Oh, here he is. So it's okay,
It's not that bad.
It's not terrible.
That playing time at guard helped him, I guess.
Right. Having the whole 819 snaps gives you this, kind of a low score, which really benefits you in terms of the approximation value from PFR. That's the same sort of thing that you see with John Runyon. Like, I don't think any of us were big fans of John Runyon, but he was playing, 3,000.
Oh, I like John Runyon a lot. Yeah. No, I certainly consider John Runyon to be the other hit from that draft class.
Mm-hmm. And considering that he didn't cost you very much at all to pick up.
He was a 6th round pick, right?
192.
Yeah.
There's something.
He's kind of been the gift that keeps giving too, because we got a compensatory pick for him when he went to the Giants, and they gave him, what was it, 3 years, $10 million per year. Yeah.
Something else I'd point out: all of these blue, these guys that I highlighted in blue, Jenkins, Love, Alexander, Gary Tom, and Sean Ryan are all guys who got second contracts. These purple names: Christian Watson, Darnell Savage, Devontae Wyatt, they all got the sort of 1 year or 5th-year option. And then these red names, Reed, Kraft, Valentine, Brooks, are all people who are on that fringe of we're going to need to decide what to do with them, right? So do you think any of these guys are going to get that 5th year when, or are going to get that second contract when it seems like Gutekunst has had pretty high standards for his picks? I mean, I'd like to think Kraft gets one. I don't know if he's going to give Reed, Valentine, Carl Brooks. Those sound like they're going to get traded.
Christian, my prediction today would be that all 3 of those guys don't get second contracts. But again, like Reed's situation is so tricky to assess because honestly, like 1 month into the season, we could be in a situation where like that's a ridiculous conversation to have because, of course, you know, he is our wide receiver 1. Of course, he's going to be getting a second contract. Like we saw so little of him last year, and he was one of 2 guys last year on the team who had struggles with drops again. It was him and Dontavian Wicks. Everybody else had fixed their drops issues from the year before or were rookies. So, you know, with Reed missing as much time as he did last year and there being such a heavy wide receiver rotation last year, it's a really tough read to get on the Reed situation. So
it's kind of all, you feel like it's kind of all dependent on how these guys end up playing this year. And Kraft coming back from a major injury, I'd like
LVN,
to think,
Kraft. I think Kraft gets a deal done before the season.
I think it might help him. I think it might help him too that he's, you know, a tight end. So, you know, you're not expected to pay him, you know, $30-40 million per.
You could pay him a lot for a tight end and not be a huge
and not hurt the bank.
Right. I want to hit some of these comments. Most importantly, from Iowa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Nerd.
Love it.
He says, so basically some of this is incomplete just because of the lack of playing time. I mean, obviously with the last year's rookies, like that has to be true.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everything everything would be dependent because you'd only have one year as a sample size, right? So your entire grade score for Matthew Golden is, you know, a 70 with 300 snaps. So it's just a 70. Like that's just his grade. And and they're what hurts. And you might say, well, your weighted value from Pro Football Reference hurts because they've only been there for 1 year, but I'm normalizing that by the amount of years played. So, you know, it's his 1 year sample. If they're not playing on their rookie year, then it's hurting them. But it's normalized per year. So, you know, Jordan Love gets hurt on his year because, you know, it's only his, you know, first 4 that you're counting, and the first 2 really didn't help, but the last 2 certainly didn't.
My apologies if you already gave the answer to this question, but
sure.
When you're doing your weighted grade, you are weighting more heavily for recent years.
I am actually weighting them evenly. I'm weighting them based on the snaps that they play in those given years.
Yeah, so that was what I was wondering because it would make
we could do it that way too. Yeah, I think that'd be.
I think weighting it for recent years and weighting it for the snaps per year, I think is both important because their first couple of years you don't have as high expectations as you do for year 3 and then, you know, contract year and I think once they're, you know, once you're looking at year 3 and 4, like I don't think that you need to grade any kind of a curve going forward after that. Like if they've been here for 6 years, I don't think you need to discount years 3 and 4. But like years 1 and 2, where you don't have lofty expectations for these rookies who are still figuring out life in the big league, seems fair to me.
There was one thing that I did find recently that has just stuck with me, that Gutekunst has picked 2 Super Bowl caliber players in Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Oren Burks. They just didn't play for us when they went there. I was
Yeah.
like, is there some other guy who just got picked up by some team and I'm just missing it? So I was like going through each of these guys, current teams, and I was like, did this guy have a run somewhere? Was he with Kansas City?
I did a similar thing. Sorry, some of my energy drink went down the wrong pipe. Trying to drown myself in redacted energy over here. I did a similar thing with mine. I want to show you mine. So this is
Sure.
Yeah, I got mine heavily color coded. Golly, if I can't, I'm gonna mute myself and cough really hard and see if that. Here, I'm gonna switch back to yours. You say something really interesting while I cough really hard. I'm not muted.
Yeah, and then I think one of the other things that I had looked at was also, as I was looking through grades and as they changed over the years, I was like with Edrin Cooper, I was like, was there something that we did differently from year to year that was that we somehow missed? Like Edrin Cooper had I thought his rookie year was really good, and he kind of dropped off in his second year despite having more playing time. But he actually, like, on a per snap basis, he had many less pass rush snaps. So I'm like, maybe that's because, you bring in Micah and you're like, now we're making him more of an off-ball guy. And so his grade drops because he doesn't get those splash plays in.
He's also, a starting linebacker for us in year two. In year one, as Jake has pointed out a bunch of times, he's just coming in as a sub-package guy, being given these simple assignments, hey, go get that quarterback right there. In year two, he's a starter. He's got to be out there playing a true linebacker every single snap. It's just him and Quay locking it down. Like, man, if you're not defending your gap, bad things are going to happen in the run game. Like, you gotta. It's not all fun and games. There's real grown man's work you gotta be.
Or like seeing
responsible for
Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks, like their grades were more beneficial when they were playing over the tackle rather than when they're asked to play in the B gap. I think there is Javon Bullard playing better when he's in the box than as a free safety. And I spent a lot of time looking at Lucas Van Ness because I was like, just what exactly is happening here?
Hold on. Wait, let's roll back to Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks.
Yeah.
So, first of all, your conclusions there surprised me not at all. I'm impressed that you have that data. That's cool. I don't know if you're getting that from SIS or something, but
that's just looking at per game and where they're taking snaps from. And
so if you see there's a game where they're like 70% lined up over the tackle, you're weighting it that way.
Yeah.
You're just kind of, there's some guesswork in there for you.
Yeah.
Okay. But which I think is still informative.
And, does it right? And does it agree with your eye test? Like, did Carl Brooks and Wooden look better when they were playing sort of, as like a true defensive edge, or did they look better trying to play inside against these guards? And it's like, yeah, they look better outside.
Yeah. Well, they're both tweeners. This has always been true. Colby is a tweener who's more of a 3-tech body, and Carl is more of a tweener, or is a tweener who's more of a defensive end. And they're both tweeners. They both have to play, in both spots, and the Packers really want them playing, a defensive tackle most of the time, and they're not really built for that. They both were able to find success in college with these tweener bodies going up against lesser competition than you're facing in the NFL. Carl Brooks, not a very good athlete, crazy productive pass rusher in college, playing at Bowling Green, and it just didn't really matter that he wasn't the world's greatest athlete and that he was kind of, too big and fat and slow for playing defensive end because he was playing at Bowling Green. And he's still managed to be productive in the NFL, but he's a tweener. They can't have him out there full time.
Yeah, you're just looking to have him in that rotation.
Yeah,
and
Javon Bullard, quality rotational DT, but can't start.
Right. And Javon Bullard too. Like, we kind of knew he was this box safety type. Like, don't make him your free safety. Like, this is he's about that physicality and stopping the run, and that's just what he does best. So like, it's not really surprising to see better grades when he's taking more snaps there than when he's asked to be more of a free safety.
Add to the list of reasons why I didn't really want to draft him, but is what it is. Drew says Brooks is a 4-3 defensive tackle. If we go to 3-4, that's devastating for him.
I
like him as a 4-3 defensive end, frankly.
Yeah.
If you're going to play 3-4, have him be a defensive end in a 3-4.
I'd almost make him a rotational edge rusher in a 3-4 rather than playing the defensive end. I guess that'd be my thought. I mean, I don't know what.
Yeah, like a 5 tech is what you're thinking.
Yeah. I mean, most 60% of your snaps are something out of the nickel anyway. So
exactly
defensive end.
I mean, defensive end, right?
Yeah. And then Lucas Van Ness, I thought, I was watching his tape.
I hate the move to 3-4 for him. If
yeah,
I have zero interest in having Lucas be a 2-point stance outside linebacker. Like, okay, he's going to be a 3-4 defensive end for us, I think. Which he's got the size, but it feels like such a mismatch for me. I just think that like this little window where you switch to a 4-3 and you got a guy like Van Ness who, like, okay, we drafted Van Ness when we were still 3-4, but we immediately switched to 4-3, and you're like, big sigh of relief, like, hey, I think this is going to really benefit a guy like Van Ness. And then we switch back, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm still exhausted from the merry-go-round that we put Rashawn Gary through, where it's like, hey, let's take this 4-3 hand in the dirt defensive end from Michigan and keep him off the field for a few years as he learns to rush out of a 2-point stance. And then, hey, he's finally got some things figured out. We're gonna start switching it up, changing up the whole scheme over and over again. And it's just like, man, the whiplash that these guys have to be feeling from the constant scheme changes. And I get that we spend most of our time in nickel and dime. I get that, but there's no consistency from a team building standpoint. Like, what type of bodies are you supposed to be bringing in when we can't commit to what our base defense is going to be?
And like, as a 4-3 defensive end, like, I feel like he plays his best game when he's just inside the tackle, rather than trying to put him more interior. He does some things that are okay outside the tackle. I just don't see him like really, and I was like looking at his previous scouting reports, and I was like, they're like, oh, he bends the edge well. And I'm like, I just don't see that. Like, he is fast and he has really good hands. And that's great when you're working on the interior of the line and you're shedding blocks. But when you got to do a swim move to get under a guy and get low for a guy who plays vertically a lot and has pad level problems, like, that's just not, he's not the outside linebacker type. If you look at Malachi Lawrence's tape right now for UCF, like, he's got those moves. Like, you see him like getting skinny and around the tackles, and you don't see that in Lucas Van Ness's college tape. Like, I just don't see it. And so I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe if you're in a 4-3 and you have him as your, maybe you just leave him as a defensive end and try him there and say, hey, we're going to let you.
You're saying in a 3-4.
Yeah, if you switch to your 3-4, like, I wouldn't have him out on the field in a 3-4 base defense. I'd only use him when I'm in my nickel package as a rotation.
Yeah. Joe said that's why I'm not 100% sold they're going to do a 3-4. I think they'll have some 3-4 elements, but I don't think it's a full transition. I don't know, man. Like, history tells us that we should just take the Packers at their word when they tell us what they intend to do, rather than saying you don't have all the pieces, so you're probably not going to do it. That has not stopped them before. They frequently will go out there and try something without having all the pieces they need. That never stops them. Usually,
I
taking the
feel like
Packers
it
at their
holds us.
word is
It feels like it's held us back a lot of years because they've had that draft capital where you would expect something better, but they're just pieces that don't fit in the right holes. It's like you have three really good, strong safeties. You're like, what are we doing here? We lack the corners, and now we're playing zone all the time. You'd like to be able to punish the run, but you can't because you can't get them to respect your defensive backs.
right.
And I don't know. So that's kind of where I was. You got Lucas Van Ness here, also kind of on the bubble. Devontae Wyatt.
I do really wonder if this switch in defensive scheme and bringing in John Gannon, I do wonder if that's going to be devastating for Van Ness. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is certainly, this is his make or break year. Like either he's going to earn himself a second contract or he's going to be gone next year. This is just what it comes down to. And I really felt that last year was going to be a huge year for him. And when he was out there, he was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to miss time. It was really devastating that just.
I forgot what it even was. Was it a foot injury or something that knocked him out for like 6 weeks or something like that?
Well, isn't it all the more frustrating when you're like, I can't keep all the injuries straight because so many people were injured.
Mm-hmm.
You got Devontae and Kraft and Micah and Van Ness and Jaden Reed.
I was trying to find the electrical substation that's by Green Bay. I don't know where it was.
Joe said it was a foot injury, which is what you and I kind of thought it was as well. So thanks, Joe. Air says, and we don't know if Lloyd will stay healthy. It means stay healthy. How can you stay healthy if you haven't gotten healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we got to just write that one off. If it ever happens, it'll be nice. But you got to stop thinking of Marshawn Lloyd as being part of the plan because
I think we all had really high hopes for this is one of the guys in that draft class who's if there's an upset where this guy's the running back one, Marshawn, it was Marshawn Lloyd, and to me it was Marshawn Lloyd or Bucky Irving. And Marshawn Lloyd ends up being injured the whole time, and Bucky Irving does pretty good in Tampa.
Yeah, I like both those guys. I thought it was a bad running back class overall, and those were a couple of guys that I liked a lot. Mm-hmm. And I finally came around to saying, hey, the only knock on Marshawn Lloyd is the age. But what do I care about the shelf life of a running back? Because I don't expect him to be around in the NFL long anyways. Mm-hmm. That was the conclusion that I came to. Mm-hmm. Guess I should have taken into consideration, hey, what if he never gets on the field because of his age and the wear and tear on his body? Should have thought of that one. Whoops.
He has to go on Medicare before he gets a snap.
Right? He was... I can't remember off the top of my head if there was, a really early round running back who was a big deal in that class. But of the running backs who were any kind of target for the Packers, Marshawn Lloyd was my top selection. He just was not a running back class that I liked. And hey, Gutey was wrong on Marshawn. I was wrong on Marshawn. It's fine. Mm-hmm. And I even said that year, I was like, Marshawn in the third, that's kind of what I would do. Mm-hmm. Take a running back in the third, and Marshawn was my guy. It didn't work out, and so Gutey and I were both wrong on it, and we just know learned our lesson there.
I was also
pay attention to the tread that's left on a guy's tires.
I was also a Jalen Wright fan, but things haven't worked out so well there.
Was he at Tennessee?
He went to Miami. I don't know where he is at right now. I think he's still there. I mean, he had some.
No, I mean, did he play at the University of Tennessee?
Oh,
or is that
yes.
Texas?
Yes, Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah, I liked him too. And then I think didn't he end up being crazy unathletic? He had a 3 RAS or something.
I think he was really athletic. I want to say.
Oh, there was something that we discovered about him kind of late in the process that was really poor. I thought it was his athleticism.
No, he had a 9.82 on athleticism. Okay.
I can't remember what it was that there was something about him that was.
He's 5'10", 5'10", I guess, maybe 5'10", 210.
I did really like him, but right before the draft, there were a bunch of other draft analysts were saying no, miss me with this guy. There's
They're just trying to drive
here's the
down
reason
the
why he's not
stock
going to
for
work.
somebody else. Like, I'm convinced that last minute news, that's what they do. Like Jordan Tyson, they were just releasing some video of him from high school getting beat by this like corner who's like nameless. I'm convinced that's just them trying to drop his draft stock. Or Ketro McMillan, I think it was last year where they had the high school thing for like his freshman year.
They're like, does he even like football?
Does this guy even want to play? Come on, let us pick him.
Language. I got to go back and bleep that.
Sorry. It's a family show.
It's a family-friendly show, all right? The craziest we get on here is letting Jake talk about waving his pants over his head. My apologies to the kiddos at home. I keep telling Chris that he can't say that word on here.
You got a foul mouth.
All right, so I'm going to put mine on screen here. Mine is a little simpler. And what I really wanted to look at was comparing what Gutey did against the consensus big board, because the consensus big board ends up being pretty darn good. When you look back at historical draft classes, the consensus big board tends to be better than basically any of the full-time draft analysts. If you're not familiar with it, usually what we're referring to is there's a great website out there called NFLMockDraftDatabase.com. And the guy who runs that just aggregates all the mock drafts out there and gives you, hey, this is the consensus of where these guys are expected to go according to everybody out there. And it's great.
152 big boards, 1,000 first-round mock drafts, 1,300 team-specific mocks. There's so much varying opinion. And you compare that to, an NFL scouting staff of 20 guys. Maybe they bring their coaching staff in them, so it goes up to 40 when they get close to the draft. They're like, can 40 guys make a better prediction than 3,000 people, right? All, and however many 3,000 boards and however many people are backing up those boards. Maybe the only thing that I don't like about MDB is a lot of the big boards they use only go up to like maybe 100, or I think there's some as low as 50. So like
Sure.
you get less precision once you get out of the day 2 prospects, right? Once you get into day 3, it's kind of like it's a wild show, right? You're like, and I think that's reflected too in the draft. You see these guys who are projected undrafted free agents going at the top of the 4th, and you're like, nobody even knew who that guy was, and you're like, yeah.
What I appreciate most about the mock draft database is that it really helps protect us against revisionist history. You go back and people are like, the biggest example is, and we've talked about it probably 200 times on the show. People go back and they're like, well, the whole problem is that Gutey took Jordan Love instead of T. Higgins. And you're like, okay, let's go back and see if anybody was saying, let's take T. Higgins. No, they were saying, let's take Denzel Mims. That's who people wanted. Seriously, you think Denzel Mims was going to get the Packers a Super Bowl? The dude who can't stay on an NFL team. But
And
that
where
was
would
the
he
consensus.
stay?
That was the consensus pick. Everybody was saying that on draft day, the most mocked first-round player to the Packers was Denzel Mims. And I forget who the second guy was, but it also wasn't T. Higgins. I think it was not Kenneth Murray, but the other linebacker. Maybe it was Kenneth Murray. I really liked Kenneth Murray. Tool for this says, I have a little board. It has like 7 players. You know what? We're pouring out for the little boards. All right, they don't get the respect that the big boards do.
Won every Super Bowl. I was like, I like that one.
The Bengals have won every Super Bowl since taking T. Higgins. All right, so looking at my board here, or my spreadsheet, what I have here, this is all of Gutey's picks, sorted historically for the moment, from 2018 through 2025, where they were taken and where the consensus was on each of these guys. And so then I took, there's the pick value charts out there. A lot of people, I really like the Rich Hill chart, But the one that I used is the one that I think is the most
They're all
respected
pretty.
at the moment, which is the Fitzgerald Spielman one. But
They're all pretty close. I mean, for something like this, it's perfect using any one of them, I think.
so I assign the value to each pick that we actually used and the pick of where these guys were expected to go, and this helps because if you reach a little bit on a guy in an early round versus in a later round, it's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
So for this value lost column, I color coded it really helpfully for us. So green means you did something good here. So here we go. Here we have Josh Jackson, who was consensus number 20 overall. We got him at pick 45. So that was 411 picks, pick value made up for us, which if we go look at that, 411 is right about pick 163, which is, what, that's like a 5th round pick, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
That sound about right? So I know what you're immediately wanting to know. Like, what was the worst pick that we made of all time, right? So let's take a look at it. So Sean Clifford was the most value lost of all time. We took him at pick 149, and he was consensus 333. Right behind him, we have Jacob Monk. And I'm going to tell you, this is actually not...
Okay.
It's
yeah.
Well, no, I mean, he hasn't played at all.
For a draft. I think
what I'm trying to say is that with this being the second most value lost of all time, it's actually not even the full picture because we had to trade up twice to go get the pick that we drafted him with. And we were losing value each time we were trading up. So this is only the value lost on just the pick that we spent on him, not the picks that we traded to go up and get him. The A.J. Dillon pick shouldn't surprise anybody at all that the guy we took in the second round at pick 62 was the consensus number 140 player. Again, that's a 5th round expected. And so that comes in as the third biggest reach of all time at 413 points. So Jake says we doing that mock. Yeah, man, if you join.
I was looking at Jacob Monk and I saw his grade. He had a 74, but he only had 60 snaps on his first year in a rotational role, right? He's just filling in for some guy. I was like, all right. He's a 5th round pick. It's a little rich.
5th round pick we traded up for. Hasn't really played. Mm-hmm. We traded up twice. And I just don't think that he has the versatility to be able to play anywhere other than center, which is also frustrating. So if we flip it the other way and see what did we get the best value on here? EQ, Equinemius St. Brown. He was projected to be a 3rd round pick. We got him in the 6th round. Rasheed Walker, he was projected 102. I had a 2nd round grade on him. I think might have been a 3rd round grade by the end. Projected to be a 3rd round pick, and we got him at in the 7th round, pick 249.
I was kind of hoping he'd get a second contract with us, like just try to get. Frankly, a team
for the contract that he ended up signing with Carolina, I don't understand why we didn't.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
No, it's like $4 million is all he got. Like 1 year, $4 million or $3 million.
Oh my
like
gosh.
we're not even going to get a compensatory pick for him.
And up to 10 with incentives, like a prove it deal. Like, why can't we give him that contract? I don't know.
Exactly.
He was on my board of expectation score. He's just below Zach Tom. Like, you can't expect that much more from a guy who puts in 3,000 snaps for you.
Drew said we also traded EQ for a 6th, if I remember correctly. No, I don't think we traded EQ. But I think what you're thinking of is we traded that other wide receiver, Trevor Davis. We traded Trevor Davis for a 6th. And he that was kind of the compensatory pick that kept on giving, because that we spent that pick on John Runyon, then we got a compensatory pick back from John Runyon as well when he left. So, Drew says, look at that list of blue players. So I did color code this. Yeah. So blue is like the clear and obvious hits. And, you know, maybe there's some people who would quibble with having Rashawn Gary on there. But, I mean, I don't know how you could say that, like.
For what he did for you over his whole contract. Like, you can't.
He got a second contract from us. And it's a short list, too. Here's all the blue guys I have: Jair, Rashawn, Elton, Jordan, Zach Tom, Tucker Kraft, Edgerrin Cooper, and Evan Williams. These are guys that I would consider, like, sure, they were kind of no doubt about it hits. As far as the other colors that I have on here, let me re-sort this.
And Evan Williams was the one that was like, I was kind of surprised when we took him, because I was like, that's quite a reach. And like, I was like,
he was a significant reach according to the consensus board. He was consensus 235. We took him over 100 picks earlier at 111. So this is, if you look here, you can see it's kind of the only example of us making a ginormous reach that panned out.
Yeah.
The only other guy who's a significant reach, really, you got Jair and Elton are each 3-round reaches.
And if you're going to reach for anyone like that egregiously, like, that's where I expected on like a day 3 guy, where it's like, this guy doesn't have a lot of evaluations, so I might have, you know, a gem here. It's kind of how I feel with like Eli Heidenreich, right? Like, I'm like, this guy says like a 230, but like he could like legitimately be like 120 to 140, like.
Or earlier. I've had so many Eli Heidenreich conversations this week.
Because you put him next to other comparable people, like, you know, who is it? Like Skylar Bell, and you put their tapes like side by side, and you're like, these guys are kind of both really good playmakers, and you're spending like, you know, pick 90 to get them. Like, it seems like a fair evaluation. I mean, maybe you want to say one's a little high, one's a little low.
There's also such an interesting element of, depending on who drafts him, he could be playing very different positions in the NFL. It's just not cut and dry what he's going to be. Jake really, really, really likes him as a wide receiver. Heard a lot of people talking about him as a running back. I guess I think I lean a little bit more in the running back vein, but he is really small. He's got this really lean body. A lot of people have been comparing him to Christian McCaffrey because they have similar body types. You know, and it certainly has not hurt Christian McCaffrey, but also, I don't know.
He does seem more like that H-back kind of role, where it's like he, like, a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like every time I'm watching him, it's like 90% of his runs are like sweeps, like right to the edge. And he doesn't do like a lot of work inside. And there's like a bunch of them where he's coming in motion too. It's like, okay.
Yes.
Like, that does seem like a lot of stuff that the Packers kind of do. So like, expecting him to do something like that, I could see them using him that way. But you also, you know, we have this habit of picking up guys to fill the same role that we don't, you know, we got Quinyon Williams running these sweep packages for us. We got Christian Watson who can do these sweep packages for us. Do we need another guy to do that? So like,
Quinyon
Packers,
Williams. Who the heck is Quinyon Williams?
Quinyon Williams.
Savion Williams. I'm like, wait a minute. Who do we pick up that I don't know about?
Yeah, some random guy.
Drew says, PFF listing Eli as a fullback is absolutely shameful. It created a narrative about him. He should be listed as a running back or maybe tight end for H-back. I mean, I agree 100% about H-back. H-back is where I would expect him to play in the NFL. And the fullback stigma certainly has resulted in, whenever we post a mock draft where we take Eli, fans just go ballistic. It kind of doesn't matter what round you take him in. They get mad. It's like, we're not drafting a fullback. It's like, no, you're right, because we don't use a fullback in our offense. You're correct. Look at the actual player, though. Like, forget the letters next to his name. Think about the different creative ways that you'd be trying to use him in the NFL. So, like, as his default usage, H-back is where I would expect him to play. Jake really does see him as a true wide receiver. I don't know that I'm quite there, but he
some of his best
certainly
film
has...
is just working out of the slot. And he comes out of his breaks very hard, very good. Plant and break. And I don't see that from a lot of guys. There's a lot of receivers where I'm just watching them and everything's just rounded off. And yeah, they get open on some like post route or some crosser, and then they go for 80 yards and they're, stat padding. But like, I want to see those guys who break cleanly or who are, showing a lot of different release packages, which is, you like to see that when you see a guy like Surratt is a name who comes to mind. Who I'm like, it's the guy who has value, who shows you a lot on film, as opposed to some of the other guys.
Yeah, and Eli also has 6.5 yards per carry in college as well. There's just a lot of variance about where you could play him, and I would think that at least half or more of the teams in the NFL are not up to the task of maximizing his potential. So I think there's probably a short list of places where he could go. San Francisco might be a really good landing spot for him. Kyle Shanahan, I think, would be creative enough to find a way to maximize him. I would probably like to see him go somewhere like there, even though I hate the 49ers. All right. Chris, is there anything else that you think we should dig into here regarding this athletic thing? I would.
I had one more thing since we had talked about the consensus versus the big board.
Yeah.
So I
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, let me show this. So this is just I had kind of
beautiful
this NFL versus consensus where we have.
What do the colors mean? We got for the audio only crowd. We got.
We got orange is the consensus. Blue is the NFL in terms of cost per round. And then the green is total value. So basically what you see is that the total value teams are getting out of players versus how they're evaluating their draft capital. The draft capital is like this, like it's like a, half a bell curve, right? And the NFL values their first round picks even more than consensus does. And they're both pretty much right on top of where the expected value for those players is when they're playing in the league. But the draft capital, because, we spend so much on the first round, it drops off for both models. And the expected value across every positional round doesn't fall off nearly as quickly. So
that third round bump is really interesting to me.
Right. So, and then what you see kind of is that the NFL is overvaluing picks in the first, second, and just a little bit into the third. So on the first 2 days, the NFL overvalues players. And then on day 3, consensus has more value assigned to all of the picks. And so to me, both of these models really speak to the fact that the evaluation of where we are in draft capital, there's like that mismatch, right? Because you get so much value out of these later round picks. Like, even though you're spending all this value on these first round picks, it's the case to trade back, right? To get more picks because you get more value, and you're trying to play with this, in the NFL model where you're constrained by how many starters you have and how many men you can have on your roster. And, because you don't want to just have as many 7th round picks as possible, right? You want to kind of get, really the sweet spot is kind of around this 3rd round, right? In terms of getting value right at the end of the 2nd, very beginning of the 3rd. And you want to get as many picks in here as possible because those are the guys filling out your roster. So this kind of just, to me, it's showing, you had the graph of showing, are we reaching for players and are we getting the value? And it turns out that the guys who fall to us and we pick them, they end up being more of our best picks, right? Because we're getting that value of consensus from them. And I kind of did this other little thing too that's a little bit related, but I was like, such a nerd.
Can you
Um,
zoom in a bit if you're
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to show us this?
So I was like, how do you try to address this sort of optimization problem of players that you have on your roster? So if I'm just looking at this area, you have like a depth of players of first round players, second round player, or first like starters for your roster, right? On offense and defense, you'd say there's 22, but because of some packages, maybe there's an extra tight end or an extra wide receiver or an extra, defensive interior player or an extra cornerback, right? You have your rotational players, realistically, maybe the rotational plus the starters, you're, like 41 guys. And then guys who don't really see the field, there's maybe about a dozen of those guys. So how much draft capital and how much salary are you spending on them, right? So for that third stack of players, it's kind of easy. You're like, I don't want to have these guys who aren't seeing the field. I don't want to spend more than a 7th round pick on these guys, and that's associated with, $1 million per year against your cap limitation. And then on your second round guys, you're like, let's spend sort of the least amount of capital that still returns some value. So I'm like, if you gave them all like 4th round projected value, you'll pay them about $8 million total. You'll spend about $1,200 in draft capital, right? In any given year, you have 1,900 points of draft capital, right? And you have these guys for 4 years. So, do the math. You have to fill all these roster spots. So if you use your remaining draft capital, you sign the most important positions to the max salaries that they can get, where a quarterback makes about 55, edge rushers are making about 40 million. Same with receivers, same with defensive interior. You could pay maybe 6 of the top positional players the max salary without running into salary cap limitations, right? So then you'd have to replace everyone else. So you're like, I'm going to give 2nd round picks for the next most important position, 3rd round picks for the next one. And that gives you basically no draft capital left, no cap space remaining. And, this is kind of, if you're going to pay the guys at the top the most, you have basically 6 guys on a second contract. If you paid the guys at the bottom, like the tight ends, the linebackers, safeties, running backs, all these sort of playmaker positions, you might have 9 guys on contracts. You might be able to, and in that case, you might be able to spend a 1st round pick on a quarterback. And if you kind of just address the trenches first, you could have all of your defensive interior and O-line paid for.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I choose this option.
And then you'd have to spend 1st round draft capital filling your edge and quarterback positions. And that kind of seemed, and when you think about it, you'd like to be in this position, right? This is your dream position. So when teams talk about rebuild, they talk about drafting, your O-line first, because you want to get those guys under contract. You want to get that signed because you want to be in this sort of position, right? But after that expires, suddenly you have to lose those interior linebackers and you have to move up to, this model where you're paying your edge rushers and defensive line, or your edge rushers and your quarterback, because your quarterback's taking up so much space. And so it's kind of interesting. I like this because it's kind of this optimization of how much draft capital do you have, how much cap space do you have, how are you going to handle that from a roster construction? Because if you paid every positional starter like top value or near the top, you would be at like $750 million and 2 times the cap, right? So you obviously can't pay.
What's wrong with that? You can do that for a year. You just better hope you win the Super Bowl that year, because you're gonna be hurting for a minute.
So I think to me the weird thing about
I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The weird thing about this to me is, as I'm going through it, I just can't make any excuse, or I can't find a good reason that you should ever use a 1st round pick on anything other than a quarterback, edge rusher, or wide receiver. And like, if you're doing anything else, because of how, you pay, it's like you should just be trading back and getting into the 2nd and 3rd round and filling out all of those other starting and rotational positions, because that draft capital is so important. If you just use your 7 picks, like 1 through 7, without trading back and looking at the associated return value, it's like you're missing half of the value that you could get from having, third.
Can you show us that again? So you're saying the only positions that you see as worth being a first round pick, or at least an early first round pick. So you got quarterback and edge, but then you also threw wide receiver in
I
there.
throw wide receiver just because the top pay that you would expect these guys is the same as edge, essentially, right? The top receivers and the top edge rushers are kind of the premium positions from NFL contract perspective.
Now, you might not have the answer to this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, is that something that has held up for a bunch of years, or is this kind of more just a recent spike? In the last 3 to 5 years, wide receiver contracts have just really skyrocketed.
Right. Yeah, it's all that would all just be based on who's valued the most in the NFL, right? Who's going to demand the most out of your cap? Because if you want to keep them, right, you got to sign them. And
Air says tight end, linebacker, and safety tend not to be worth it in the first, which is why I don't love that Gutey keeps swinging at linebacker so early. Quay going in the first round really hurt me.
Like you could have traded back and still gotten Quay, who is like, I think consensus 50 or something. You didn't even need to trade back here because we had that 53 pick. And I remember seeing him on the board so often because he was like 51 or something like that.
So Quay was consensus 39, so he probably would not have been there with our pick. Now he was my number 100 player. He on my board he was player number 100. So
I remember trading back for those. Jets had 2 early second round picks and trying to do like you can either trade our 2 first for their 2 seconds plus change, or trade the I think that first pick was 24 or something. Trading that pick to them to get their 2 seconds. And I was like, that would have been such a sweet deal.
Instead, we took our 2 seconds and turned them into an early second. Air says even if the tight ends and linebackers are good, it's hard to count on them being all pro and staying healthy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, imagine the world in which you don't take Quay Walker, at 24 or whatever, but instead you trade back, you end up with Christian Watson plus some interior defensive line guy, and then you still have that capital to go take, Alec Pierce, and you bust the other on, I think that tight end Virginia something, who just didn't pan out, right? You ended up wasting that pick because the player didn't. Jelani Woods, Alec Pierce, Jelani Woods was popular picks in that 53-59 position, and Alec Pierce, pretty decent wide receiver to go along with your wide receiver.
I liked him a lot. Him a lot.
And Jelani Woods would have been this tight end who would have had a year under Mercedes Lewis, which to me would have made a lot of, the big thing on Jelani Woods in Indianapolis was Jelani didn't want to put any effort in. And I would think, as a guy who reportedly modeled himself after Mercedes Lewis, that having a year under Mercedes Lewis's tutelage might have been a different story for that person's career.
That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting.
Maybe not. It's work habits are kind of hard to influence change dramatically. So, but I like this exercise.
I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy looking at the thing you just showed us with the positional value. I remember doing this a few years ago. This is probably about 2021 or so. I was doing a similar exercise, and one thing that was factoring in there was I was looking at all the players in the NFL who were starters and what round were they drafted in. And you could see that like round 2 was the spot to hit on linebackers. Like, don't take them in the first round, but like round 2 is where like value and production just absolutely hits. And like center, it doesn't matter. Like UDFA, 7th round, 1st round, it just, they're from everywhere. And a lot of the times those centers are guys that weren't even playing center in college, and he just moved them there. Like, hey, look at Sean Ryan. Who in the world 1 year ago would have believed you if you said like, oh man, who would actually be really good at center? Sean Ryan. Like, what? He's not even on my short list of guys I think might, come in and fill in at center in a pinch.
Mhm.
Drew points out Lions went corner, running back, linebacker in the first round in 23 and 24. Yeah, and I was the year that they took Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell in the first round. I was laughing my butt off at him, and there were a lot of people because the first reaction from everybody was low value positions taken with very early picks. This is not a smart move. And then the gotcha crowd came in, once the game started being played and going, oh, hey, but look, it turns out Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell are good at football. Did you consider that? It's like, no, nobody said that we're laughing because they're bad players. We're saying you're missing out on. You don't have a quarterback. You need to be. You don't. You know what they don't have opposite Aiden Hutchinson? A second edge rusher. They don't have one. This is still edge and tackle are their biggest needs right now. And you know what they don't have? A nice early pick to go get one of those guys. And they're going to have to hope that somebody falls to them, and they're not stuck with Caden Proctor or somebody stupid like that. They desperately need help at edge and tackle, premium positions. And back when they had this plethora of resources, they're like, "Oh, we're going to blow down a running back and an off-ball linebacker." Congrats! Enjoy those players. They're good players. They're not worth where you took them because of the other needs that you end up having that you can't patch as easily.
I feel like those picks to me are you're ready to make that run because those are impact positions for what they are. But if you don't make it that year, you're really hurting yourself in the following years because you have nothing to grow from.
They've also been stuck with Jared Goff this whole time too.
And I think sometimes you're also just in this position where you can't trade back, so you got to pick, and you're just
absolutely, that's absolutely true.
Just trying to pick whoever's top of my board. I think Campbell was probably one of those where it's you probably could have switched to a different position and been fine. But it's probably just I remember being really high on Campbell, so I'm I think I had him sneaking into the first round. That was the year I did the
I liked him because of his size. He was one of the only
prototypical 6'4", 6'5".
250-pound linebackers has come out in the last few years, so I liked him because of that. But taking him where they did, I didn't like taking Quay Walker as early as we took him.
Mm-hmm.
Look at these positions that we have hit on real quick here. I'm just gonna filter it again to let's do blue. So you got 4 high value positions and then safety, which I would say is like a middle value position.
Mm-hmm.
And then guard is more valuable than tight end and linebacker. It's kind of more on the safety level. I probably should have made this green.
He played tackle too. He wanted that tackle money. Play tackle for him.
That's true. I liked him best at left tackle. Out of everywhere he's ever played, I liked him best at left tackle. But we can't go do that again because we have to go shove a recovering ACL victim into right tackle, and then we can never again play him at left tackle ever again because right tackle didn't go well. Looking here, also, what's going on here? Let's try and switch this to green. Here we go. The guys, so green would be guys who have been good players for us, but not like the rock solid slam dunk. Oh yeah, these are great hits, but certainly solid contributors. So Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. You'll notice there's nobody on here who got a second contract from the Packers. Christian Watson, I think, is going to get one. Technically, they gave an extra year.
Right. Call it a 5th-year option, right? It's just a different.
But even so, he's not. In terms of value, he's not like wide receiver 1, X wide receiver. He's plays a lesser value. He's not going to get the crazy wide receiver one money.
It
So that's why I put in green here.
The fact that they didn't do the 5th-year option, they gave him that 1 year, gives me hope that he might sign a team-friendly deal and get a second contract. But it's going to be that wide receiver 2 money, right? He's like, I'm not trying to be the main guy. I'm just trying to be a good guy in your core. That's my hope, right? Fingers crossed, you're going to give him like less than 20 million per or something. I don't know. He could probably go out and get 30, right? Get the Alec Pierce deal, but
I would guess he's probably going to come in somewhere around 20, but we'll have to see. Looking at sorted this by value lost, these top 3 players, Darnell Savage, Quay Walker, Jaden Reed, I was mad when we took all 3 of these because I was low on all 3 of these guys as draft prospects. And I do think that the consensus board has a big impact on my perception of a guy when we reach on him. And the fact of the matter is Darnell and Quay, they're no longer in Green Bay. They didn't get that second contract. These are first round picks who we didn't
spent a lot of capital to go get.
Fifth year option. I can't remember if we picked up his 5th
we
year
did.
option.
Yeah, we gave him the 5th.
Quay we didn't.
I felt like they were both okay. If you gave him a team friendly deal on either one of them, I would be okay with that, but we just didn't.
These guys here, with the guys that fell to us, Rashid, Enigbare, Valentine, Wyatt, Dobbs, to a lesser extent, he didn't fall that far. Only fell 5 picks. Actually, Dobbs and Wyatt both, we shouldn't really count them as falling that much. They only fell 3 and 5 picks each. But these other 3 guys, these are absolutely fan favorites because, hey, this dude fell to us in the draft, turned out to be a stud. We liked him because he was high on the consensus board. Turns out we were right. So you got all these warm and fuzzy feelings, and it helps that they play 3 premium positions, corner, edge, and left tackle. Daryl says Watson, Reed, Golden, Williams, Moore, and quite possibly Keeney, James, or Nayor as well will be productive. I would probably stop you at the top 3 there, Watson, Reed, and Golden. And then see what Savion turns into. Moore. Oh, gosh. Who's Moore?
Sky Moore.
I'm blanking on Moore. Oh, yeah, Sky Moore.
Special teams returner.
He'll be productive as our returner.
Yeah. Who's also filling that same sort of Z jet sweep role that Savion and Christian Watson also play.
I do think we'll draft a wide receiver, and I think we probably will not draft a wide receiver that I like. There's a number of receivers that I think make sense for the Packers, and then there's another pool of guys who I think they have circled who I don't necessarily like. But hey, if we end up with a guy like Stribling or Jacoby Lane, I'll be thrilled. There's good guys to be had here. Chris, do you want to do a mock draft? We are at the 1 hour and 24-minute mark, and I think this was a very fun, very productive conversation that we had. Would your assessment from having looked at our data here be that Gutey's reaches pan out more or don't pan out more?
I would rather him just use the engine and have us be auto-drafting players, to be honest. I feel like it's I feel every single team is guilty of this, and even just us as individuals, right? We all get the FOMO. We're all like, we got to take this guy. It's like, sometimes you just end up being more pleasantly surprised by just taking whoever's there right at the top and just being like, is this guy... In fact, I would be willing to say that, if we did 2 mocks, just before the draft, and then just do one where you just take the first player at a position that you didn't even pick, or as long as you're not doubling down on something, right? You're taking edge, you're taking defensive interior, offensive, right? You never double down, but you always take the top guy. I want to see how that compares at the end of this season to the one where you're picking your favorite guys. where you're like, I'm gonna, go grab Micah Morris at 250 when, I have him. I'm gonna take him at 200 and see how that turns out. When you could have had, I don't know who's at 200 and on the board in consensus. You could have had.
Well, Eli Heidenreich's right at like 222 right now, so maybe he's just the.
He could be there. You never know. I'm just looking at consensus. What's at
Jake's favorite H-back.
Gentlemen, how are we?
The audio-only crowd just got blindsided by Jake's voice. The chat is popping off right now because they see that Jake.
Let's go.
Call.
You take.
I texted Jake and said, "Listen, we're doing this mock draft, so you're gonna get."
I have like 10 minutes to do this, so we'll have to go pretty fast. The Western Night Party bus is leaving in 10.
Jake, you wanted to do the walk the mock sim? Is that the one you wanted?
Stick to the model works too.
Stick to the model. Is that the one you want to do?
It's a good one. I like it.
Have you used the A to Z one?
I have used it. Yes, pretty good as well. Could always do that too.
All right.
I can share. Believe it or not, in the Airbnb there are plenty of monitors that I have hooked stuff up to already to accommodate myself.
So let's see here. We're drafting for the Lions, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we got Green Bay 7 round. We'll turn this. No, we'll leave it. We'll leave it on the defaults here.
I saw the. Did you guys see Kelper taking Delp and Malachi Lawrence before Packers in 52? Delp was in the second for sure.
Who did it?
The Mel Kiper draft.
Oh, Kiper. Okay.
Kiper.
Yeah. Where
gotcha.
He had Oscar Delp going in the second. We're like,
I mean, if guys like Ben Sinnott are going in the second, like,
yeah,
why not?
You got to have hopes for Ben. He's got to do something.
Maybe.
Tool for this says take the mock to your party.
I cannot.
So this will be my first time using the stick to the model mock draft. Where's the button? Here we go. Start.
Yeah, start button's there.
Start draft. Oh, I guess I've done this before because I remember the trade being weird. And you can't like change the speed while it's going, can you?
I thought you had it up to fast. This is fast. Jeez.
This is not fast.
Feels like
this is just default.
Oh, okay.
It gives you time.
So should I restart it?
Sure.
Pause it. How do I
just do redo? I think.
Or the back. Either way, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's okay. I thought the slider was just like that little bit. I would put speed pretty high because
you can just put it all the way up. I don't think it affects anything. It's just whether you see
randomness.
Things. If you want to snipe in to try to trade up,
realistic. It says.
Just be sure to make sure you hit the 7 rounds.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
There we go. Okay.
What?
Yeah, you had
Oh, you're not signed in?
What the heck?
You're not signed up?
I can't make an account while I'm sharing my screen. Come on now.
Well, you don't have to share it here.
Hold on. Here's what I can do.
No, remove remove the screen so you can.
I like Mel Kiper had us taking Avion Terrell, which I don't know. It would just hurt me. I don't know.
Why would it hurt you?
I'm not a fan.
Okay. But why?
I don't know.
Expand. No. We can't. We gotta. I want to hear.
Do you want him to expand or expound?
Either way.
Whatever. All right, here's the guys available for us at 52. Gabe Yakas, Jake Golday, Chris Brazel, Keith Abney. We could do an all Packers top 30 visit mock draft. That could be interesting. We can take Brazel here. Chris Bell. Trading Stukes. Ooh, Keelan Rutledge right here.
This
yummy.
Didn't like that.
You didn't like Rutledge?
No, just the slurping
the sound I made?
noise. Yeah.
Does it sound better or worse on my new microphone with the slurping?
I don't know. I'm not sure how to answer that. I think
Multiple people are saying, please don't take Chris Brazel. I agree. I don't like
fine.
Chris Brazel.
I don't
Dominique
think, I don't
Orange.
think they have to
What
do
what
that.
direction do you guys want to go in? Romello Height?
No,
Hurst? I see a vote for Hurst. Ayers says Hurst.
I think we
versus
just
79.
I think we throw caution to the wind and take Abney
Chris, what do you want to do?
I'm a fan of Abney.
and say fluff the thresholds.
I wouldn't
Mr.
mind Chris
Gutey
Bell
himself.
either, to be honest.
Well, that's also possible.
Like he might be injured.
I will say, if we're staying at this pace, I will not be here the full way.
Yeah,
We got to make a call.
Let's go with Abney just to keep it
right.
going.
Yeah, appease the guys who want
Abney,
corner.
6'5", relative athletic score, 5'10", 187. But he's only 21 years old. Maybe this is the guy.
Young player. Yeah.
Marginally better than Avion.
They've done this in the second round with Reed. Like they've done a little bit smaller when they really like the player. I think it's possible.
All right. We took Abney. I will say.
Oh, 2 picks before with Hurst. So that means,
That's painful.
I mean, you could go Halton.
Kieran Crawford's
guy.
gone.
Take your guy Halton here.
Alton, Barham. I was actually watching Mike Washington because I was
Barham.
like, do I feel good about that? Just don't know.
Do you feel good about it?
I think we
It's
go Caleb
okay.
Proctor here.
It's okay.
I just don't. I just think he should be way better through contact
Yeah.
for a guy who's that big.
He likes to get physical, but he just struggles to stay upright when he
I know
does.
that's the thing. Like I just don't.
Like, stay up, please. You're gonna go to the house.
It so matches the missed force, the force missed tackle stuff. How he measures up with the other running backs of like it's just not there, and it's like, oh yeah, well this is why. I think Proctor or Halton. I think you could talk me into either one.
Proctor Halton. We got to vote for Mike Washington from the chat.
What do
Drew says
people
Halton
like
over
about
Proctor.
Mike Washington, other than he visited?
It's
I
the
think
It's the big
the
fast
fast.
theory.
it's the Isaiah Bond effect. The guy runs a really stellar 40, and everyone wants him.
I mean, Bond could at least gear down and play through the break with his.
For
transition,
Xavier Worthy,
so.
I was thinking of Xavier Worthy. So,
I think
Bond
he kind of
wins.
still could have as well, but that's one man's opinion.
My opinion is we should either go. We
went Abney. I think
Caleb Proctor, Will Lee, or maybe Barham. Kind of
let's
leaning
do
Proctor.
Yeah, Proctor.
Okay.
Proctor feels like such a great pick too
they're
because like
going
he
to
always,
have to take him here.
he
He might not
likes
even be available here. To be
he
honest,
likes those guys who rise like dramatically right at the end.
Ooh.
Stribling.
I
That's
would
fun.
not be opposed to going Stribling
Just do
here.
it. Hit it. No think.
Stribby.
Real quick. I
No
just want
thanks.
to see if there's. I just want to see who else was there for us.
I mean, Raritan. If anybody watched the show last night, I
He's-
did with
The bus is
Toscano,
honking. I hear it.
Raritan is. I mean, he's got the goods. He definitely has the goods. Okay, we haven't taken O line. We haven't taken edge.
Massis, McAllister, Regis,
Brother.
yeah, O line is a little bit picked over.
Trost,
Yeah.
Coogan. A lot of these guys are kind of older too.
Yeah.
That's what I've been realizing is that even though there's like a lot of depth to be had at the O line, like they're all like 24.
Wow, I can't believe Bo Stevens is what Iowa Joe wants to do. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's like give me an Iowa guy.
I can't believe that. What do we think? 5 minutes on the clock here, fellas.
The one time that Jake is actually time conscious. Well, Ellermzor is tempting.
Ooh, yeah.
Pounds.
Pounds? Yeah, Diego
Pounds.
Pounds. Where is he?
I
Is he
know.
on
I
here?
see Eric McAllister on there, and I know Chris is,
I love it. I
Chris
love
is
it.
loving that.
I was saying to you earlier,
Could double up
the other-
Demings with corner there.
Yeah, real quick. What else is available at corner? Prysock. I like Prysock. I'm higher and higher on Prysock.
I just wish he didn't have to swing his arms when he had to transition. That's like that tells me
Can't you coach him out of that though?
no, but see what that tells me is he I don't think he's quick enough in transition, so he feels like he has to be doing that to find a way to decelerate and change it. Like I feel like that's what he has to do that to do it, which is to me is concerning.
I feel like it's going to call attention from the quarterback, like the receiver's waving his arms, but it's him. He's like, shit, I'm behind.
Maybe. I think Demings is good here. I think could take Jalen Green to be the backup. Elarmzor is good. One of those. I'm indifferent.
You're indifferent, huh?
O-line is tricky right now. It's
falling really weird here. Matt Golban, like
Stevens.
Chris, I think you should choose.
Yep.
You want to do Coogan?
Or the
what about Bowery? Is Bowery there?
Bowery.
You might be able to search.
Don't see him.
No, he must be gone, which should be the case at 153.
The Vanilla Gorilla.
Yeah.
Michael Schneider on Facebook has a question.
Not named Tucker.
I like Elamzor here. There's a lot of guys at the offensive line spot that I'm like, I'll take them.
Okay.
Rebecca.
Golban? Maybe just Golban
Golban or Black or Curry. We haven't really done anything about edge. Curry's probably our last chance to do that.
He's the short arm guy, right? I believe.
Shorter the better. Is that maybe? You can't get your arms if they're too close to your body.
I guess.
Curry.
Tricky. Joseph Murdoch after he took Elarmzor. 2 linebackers to the 5th.
30 and 1/8 inch arms. Those are pretty short.
Yeah.
I just saw that.
I think Golban offensive line just feels like we need something, and that is something.
Jake Gyllenhaal from Wyoming.
Demings is still here too.
I would just do that. Yep, I would just do that. Got to take double
Demings.
corner anyway. Might as well.
I like Demings.
Kazmarek,
Right.
Micah Morris may not want to lose out on any of those guys.
I'm leaning Kazmarek here, frankly.
That's fine
Yeah,
by me.
yeah, I like that.
That's totally fine by me.
Skylar Howard.
How do you feel about
Vandenberg.
Skylar Gill Howard, but we ask him to lose weight and play linebacker again?
That's
I'm
interesting.
actually I've thought about that. I thought
Because he was an off-ball linebacker before going to Texas Tech. I think
he gained 50 pounds or 42 pounds or something in like 3 months to play DT for them, which is just crazy.
I know safety's not on the grocery list necessarily, but Wisniewski's pretty darn good.
He is. Styles could be a returner if the Sky Moore thing doesn't pan out.
Yeah, it's fair. I'm good with Kazmarek. Go with Kazmarek, though. If you want to do that.
Kazmarek here.
All right. If Morris is available, I think you take him.
Morris is available.
I think you got to do that.
You like Morris better than Caden Barnett?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Is this our last pick? Is 236?
No, we got one more. I wonder if we can
snag.
Might be able to snag
Andre
both.
Fuller. Well, no, Andre Fuller's who I was thinking about. Like,
might be a 3-corner draft. Not bad.
Let's take Fuller here, and then one of these guys should still be available to us at our next pick.
3 cornerbacks feels
or both. There you go.
3 cornerbacks feels like a very Jonathan Gannon type thing.
How do you see our?
Go to up top. There's draft. I think top left. Nope. Okay.
Here's our.
Yeah,
picks.
there you go.
Abney, Proctor, Stribling, Elarmzor, Demings, Kazmarek, Fuller, Morris. My gut is I think this is a relatively unathletic Packers draft class. I'd have to go through and actually check it. I think it's actually kind of fitting for what today's topic is.
Good. Stop reaching for the athletes that don't know how to play.
I just
Jake,
know
thanks for
Proctor and Morris are like 10s, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So the average is like an 8, so we're still good. We're still good. Jake, thanks for taking time out of your busy party to join us. We appreciate you, and we look forward to having you back on the pod on Monday. We have a special guest coming on, by the way, you guys. You're not going to want to miss this one. Got a recruiting insider, or a recruiting insider. Draft Visit Insider. It's gonna
There
be
we
a
go.
lot of fun. So,
Fellas, I appreciate you inviting me on your program tonight, at least for a little bit of time. Always a pleasure.
Jake, don't
have a
forget to like and
great-
subscribe to
I hit
Packer
like on
Project
this
on
when
YouTube.
it went live. I hit like on this, my guy. I was actually listening for most of it.
Were you belly laughing when I realized that you weren't coming on? Did you hear that part?
I did not hear that part. No.
Yeah, I forgot that you've been scheduled off for this one for weeks
Yeah.
because you were saying, "Hey, I brought my mic. Maybe I'll hop on if we do a mock draft." And so I
did bring it.
mentally,
I said I was gonna.
mentally thought,
I said I was gonna bring
be
it.
on.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta
Well,
get
I
it in.
appreciate it. Seems like the chat's doing well as well, which is awesome. Love that. Keep active, guys. Hit the like button if you haven't. Okay. Do that for me on the as I peace off. So
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate you.
thank you, guys.
We had to do a mock draft for Jake. Make sure he got his daily fix because he's not going to be okay if he doesn't get his mock draft. He's going to get the shakes. Ayers says good night. Are you saying good night to Jake, or are you shooing us off? Chris, do you want to do another mock draft, or do you want to hang it up for tonight?
Sure, we could do one more.
Usually I would insist that we need to get some donos flowing in order to do more mock drafts, but I'm going to be honest, I'm just feeling generous tonight, and it's also kind of a lot of fun to do this. So let's go ahead and do you want to use? Let's do this one again. This is a fun sim. I like that you can see the players who are available while it's going. I hate that you can't do that in the PFF one. It's it's the thing that makes PFF not be the best option out of all of them. So
I like a lot of these. I'm warming up to a lot more of these later round tight ends. Koziel from Utah was, or is it Houston? I forget which.
I think Houston.
Yeah. I was a big fan of him as like a later round guy early on in the draft. I really like his attitude. Nowakowski from Indiana, seeing him play,
Yep.
maybe a little smaller. I feel like it's hard to, when you're spending 7th round pick on one of these guys, like it's hard to feel bad about him. And I feel like that's been in a lot of classes though, like McCastle's, who we ended up picking up, just off the wire, I think. And
Former Packer legend. Yeah.
Former Packer who parted ways today. And I'm trying to remember who the other guy was, who was out of like Nebraska or something, and we picked him up for like a season, and he played a few snaps, and he wasn't awful.
We've had a number of those guys.
Yeah, I kind of liked him, and the fact that you pick up some of these guys for basically nothing, and they play a few snaps for you, and they do some okay stuff. Even like Bo Melton, right, who's kind of had this longer term spot than I think anyone really expected. Like, he's a guy who I would have taken. I was taking in like the 7th round of every single mock draft I was doing. And a lot of these guys, it's like you can get a chance on them later.
Yeah,
and kind of tying it with respect to the RAS stuff. Like sometimes it's better to pick up these high RAS guys, 4 years down the road where they put in some work and done some stuff, and you can maybe cash in a little bit more on their growth than picking up right away when you're just projecting pure upside and you have to put in all this effort to coach them up.
Well, I think to your point, with Bo Melton and the athleticism, like that rare speed that he has is what has kind of made him irreplaceable. Of like, our offense can't work if we don't have Christian Watson. And so Melton, I think, has just continually had kind of a safe roster spot for himself because like they need a break glass in the case of emergency burner that they can put out there. If Watson goes down, they need to be able to stretch the field so that their offense doesn't completely fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to find. I had this cool tight end chart that Jake and I have looked at together a couple times, and I don't know where the heck it is. It's annoying me. So I guess I can't show that to you guys. I really wanted to. Oh, there's wide receivers, but it's not the tight ends, so it just makes me mad.
We also let go of Jamin Johnson, off-ball linebacker.
Yeah. Jamon Dumas Johnson, JDJ, was a linebacker who we had picked up as a UDFA in 2025, and he's had some injury issues, and it was a non-football injury that was cited with him getting released today, but very disappointing. Oh, we got Brian Maffey here.
Took you long enough. Took you long enough.
Brian, thanks for hopping on. You know what is going on?
For a while.
I'm so sorry for you.
I've been in the green room. There's no snacks. There's no drinks. There's nothing in the green room. This is disappointing.
Here, take this. You'll love it. The redacted energy is the blue raspberry flavor. You'll love it. No, I apologize. What's going on is that Chris and I both have our screens shared, and so it creates this big long thing. You're shoved all the way over on the side. I can barely see you down there in the green room because of all of our screens that we share. Yeah. Apologize for that.
No worries.
Brian, aka Packer Mafia, Brian Maffey, super appreciate you joining us here. First of all, can you tell the people where they can find your content and what you're creating for Packers Draft, the Packers Draft fans out there? Because man, you are pumping out a lot of great content.
Not that much, but I guess not as much as you guys.
I've been catching all your articles.
Oh, there you go. That's a lot of that stuff wasn't Packers specific. It was more just general draft stuff. But yeah, just on my Substack, you just look at my name on Substack. I just did my final positional rankings. So each position, I did like the top 10 in each position players for my final rankings. For some of the positions, I did like honorable mentions because I kind of like squished some together because just how the NFL is, like with interior offensive linemen, I kind of squished those guys together because a lot of them are playing guard and center, multiple positions over that. So I kind of just squished them together. And then I kind of squished like secondary together just because, again, there are corners that play safety and safeties that play some slot and stuff like that. So I kind of just all squished them together. Excuse me, sorry. I'm just kind of eating dinner too at the same time. But yeah. So, yeah, there's that. And then, like I said,
this is Brian's Substack. It's at Brian Maffey. It's 2 A's.
Yep.
So there's his Substack.
Yeah. No. So I also just started a chat thing there too. If anybody ever wants to ask any questions or just talk about just whatever, or not talk about anything, I don't care. I started there just in case anybody wants to talk about anything. Whether it's Packers related.
Is this a good spot for me to send you memes?
If you want. I don't know. I don't know if you can do memes in there, but yeah, if anybody has just even in general draft stuff, it doesn't even necessarily have to be Packers related, but if of course it can be if you want it to be. Yeah, so I had that stuff just come out, my final ones, and then tomorrow morning I have my what do you call it? They Won't Be Packers article coming out.
Yep.
So I read that one every year. Yeah. So this time it's actually free. So it'll be out tomorrow morning on my Substack. I picked between. I did each position. I picked between 1 and 3 players at each position that they won't pick, due to obviously we talked about it before, them not fitting, certain thresholds or background stuff or medical stuff or what have you. I know that some Packers fans probably get mad because there'll be a couple guys in there that some Packers fans get mad about being on the list, but it is what it is. But yeah, there's basically that, and also if you go to my Twitter handle that's pinned on there, I have a Packers draft board on there as well. Again, it's kind of the same kind of thing, but it's broken down by position with guys that will be on their draft, should be on their draft board at least. Be on the draft board at least from from an athletic standpoint that fit their thresholds.
Yep.
But there's some guys I put notes on the right side if you look about as far as like things that are questionable that may cause them to be off the Packers board, but it's nothing we have for sure that's verified type of stuff. Like Mason Riger, he's on there, but he's had like 6 knee surgeries, so I'm pretty sure that's going to take.
I didn't realize that. Huh? I did not know about his surgeries. That's a guy that Jake and I have mock drafted the Packers a ton of times. We probably wouldn't if we had considered those knee surgeries.
Yeah,
That's some scary stuff.
If I remember right, it's 6. Might be 5, but yeah, it's right around there. And then you know how the Packers are pretty conservative when it comes to injuries and surgeries and stuff like that. So, yeah, they're pretty conservative with that type of stuff. So I'm pretty sure he probably won't be on their board, but I can't say for sure. I mean, maybe the combine, they checked on him and all his medicals looked fine, and they're like, oh, okay, his knees are fine, no problem. But generally speaking, when you've had that many surgeries before you even got in the NFL, the Packers will be like, yeah, no thanks.
Tool for this is 4 more surgeries and he gets a free one. Drew wants to know is
Fill out the
Avery.
punch card.
It's possible, depending on who did his surgeries. Maybe if it's the same guy, he's like, hey, you know what? This next one's free. It's on me.
You know what? I've made enough boat payments. We'll do what's the word I'm looking for? Complimentary. Drew wants to know is Avion Terrell on the list for you, Brian? Is he?
No. There's also actually one more, I guess.
Well, which list is he on? The Packers will draft it, or you said you have your article is here's the list of guys that they won't be Packers. So which list are we talking about?
Yeah, which list is he talking about? Because
where's Avion Terrell for you? Is he will be a Packer or won't?
On the secondary, but I don't see him on the Packers draft.
Yeah, I think I left. Yeah, because I also I don't think he's on the draft board either. Yeah, I left guys off that I was like fairly like 99% certain they'll be gone before the Packers get up at 52. So that's why I didn't even include them, because it was like there's no point. You know, like I think I still technically have Chris Johnson on there, but I'm gonna take him off. Oh no, I already took him off. Never mind. Yeah,
why is Chris Johnson not on here? Where'd he fail?
You know, he could be at the end of the first. I think PFF has the contest for giving away 2 tickets, and I had him going on like 30 or 32nd or something. I was just like, I can't see how you can not value him this highly.
I've been saying since I've tweeted it out too. I've been saying since like November he's going in the first round. So that's why he's not on there.
Oh, okay. But I thought you were saying there was something that was eliminating him from being a Packers. Okay. Yeah, no, because we've talked about trading up for Chris Johnson is why I asked. Yeah, Chris Johnson has been a first rounder for me for forever. And I certainly agree that's where he should go. And I think if he falls to like even the mid 30s, Packers might consider working the phones to try and move up for him.
Yeah.
You probably would have to give up pick 84 to go get him.
I think the interesting one.
I don't know if he would do that.
I think the interesting one is kind of Avion Terrell, who had sort of the poor combine and has been kind of falling. And even like Mel Kiper's draft where he's doing the 2 rounds, he was like, Avion Terrell falls to the Packers. And I was like, does he? It's like, I don't see it happening, but I guess I don't.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. Because I mean, he had that bad 40, but he's still not 100% healthy. So it's, I don't think it's going to be there.
I see you got Mo DeWalt from Akron. He's a yes, or he's 3 cone, but he's one of those top 30 visits that the Packers have had. So, So I'm trying to see here. So it looks like Ephesians Prysock is probably a yes.
He's on there, but I think he's probably a no. But I have him on there just in case if they decide to, because he's close. I mean, he technically hits the athletic thresholds, but if you watch his film, he is a bit stiff. So he is more.
I do always wish that you had. Because you have this column that says complete, yes or no, and I wish you had another column that's like, is he a fit, yes or no?
I mean, I can change it. I mean, it's
likely.
Each year I've kind of updated, made changes to it. So I mean, I have some plans for next year too that I want to do some changes to it too, or add stuff to it. So maybe.
Because I do have, on my version. I do have. I got this column right here.
Yours is all fancy, color coded.
Pass and fail. Well, yeah, I think the color coding, helps. It's like a heat map. Like, hey, here's the outliers in the data. So I have four categorizations here for their threshold. I got pass, fail, incomplete, and fringe. And for some positions, there's a lot of fringes. Not so much for edge this year, but there's a lot of fringes at some of these positions.
Yeah, that's this year's class is just. It's weird like that. Like
for you, is like the entire cornerback class all fringe?
It's well,
You're
not
like, do
even
we
just
have to
that.
take him?
The entire corner class is like the ones that like meet kind of everything. They're like late day 3 UDFA type guys. It's weird.
Is Andre? I don't see Andre Miller or Andre Fuller on here. Is he?
I have him
what
under
keeps him
slots
off of
under
here?
nickel.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, because the length, because the arm length, it would slot. It
Sure.
would push him to slot corner for the Packers.
I'm good with that.
Although he's close, like his arm
Look
length.
at
Is
that arm length, short arms.
Yeah. I've talked about it before. Like with the Packers, if with their outside, primarily outside corners, they like him with at least 31-inch arms or at least close to that. So he's a little bit off. So I think they would probably they would probably see him as a slot. But I mean, he played outside this past year and he played pretty well. So I mean, it's a possibility that maybe they kind of tweak a little bit to let him play outside or something. We'll see.
Drew says JJ's board was made in South Korea. I think that he's implying that Brian's was made in North Korea. So
yes, less quality on mine. So yes, that sounds about right.
All right. So since you don't have a column that just says like yes he's a fit, can you go through for corner and nickel and tell us who are the guys who are really we should be zeroing in on for Packers? So this is the opposite of your they won't be a Packer list.
My opposite of my article is coming
corners.
out. Yeah, as far as just like guys who've done everything that athletically fit, I mean, like we mentioned earlier, Prysock, although like I said on film he's kind of stiff. Jaden Lucas from Clemson, but he lost his starting job this past year and didn't play that well this past year. But I mean, if you look at his testing and if you watch his film, you can see the athleticism is there and the size is there for what the Packers like. I mean, he's 6'2", 208, and he ran like a 4.4. So I mean, and he got sub 7 3-cone, so that's very, very Packersy. But of course, in just losing a confidence, not playing well this year, and losing a starting job. But I mean, again, the whole Clemson defense was bad this year. So was it an issue with him? Was it an issue with the whole defense? Just whatever he needs to be in a different situation type of thing. Who knows? Stuff that obviously we don't have the answers to. And then another guy that Latrell McCutcheon Sr. from Houston. He's a fit pretty much basically across the board, although he's a few pounds lighter than they like at his height because he's like 6'1.5". He's just 191. They probably prefer maybe a little bit heavier, but other than that, everything fits athletically. But of course, he has
Will Lee. It's only the weight, right?
Will Lee, yeah, it's like the weight. He's a little bit lighter than they like, and then he didn't do the agility testing, so that obviously kind of hurts him a little bit. Yeah, especially for his frame. And again, a guy that's almost 6'2" at sub 190 is not optimal as far as what they like. And then Julian Neal, I've loved Julian Neal. I've talked about him a lot since probably the summer. I loved him as a Packers fit, but his 3-cone was pretty bad as far as what the Packers like. Again,
how big of a deal is 3-cone for corner for the Packers? How make or break is it compared to the other things you track on here?
It's one of the most important things that they stick to. I mean, for all their outside corners that Gutey has drafted, none of them they've all had like a 6'9", 3-cone or faster.
Okay. So this is pretty damning. The 7'13" is.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just throwing, right? He didn't want to go to some poor team. He wanted to.
Maybe
Probably.
He doesn't want to go to the Packers. Maybe he wants to stay.
Like,
he wants to stay down
chest
south where it's nice and warm.
Or maybe he wants to go back to California. Maybe, who knows? Because he's originally from California, but
Chargers, here we come.
And he knows. He played with Evan Williams.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, they were together at Fresno State for a couple seasons.
Oh, very fun. Very
like
fun.
that fit.
I know, so they can get information about him from Evan. Well, he has.
So you got Ephesians Prysock, Latrell McCutcheon Sr. Is that just 2 so far that we've
mentioned? Yeah.
What about this Armstead? Yeah, Devon Armstead out of North Texas. This is not a guy that I am even familiar with, but I notice he doesn't really have any knocks on him except for the weight.
Yeah, again, it's the weight. It's sub 190, so it's kind of like, again, that's something that might knock them off the board, because all their outside corners are all like 193 plus. So
Come on, give him a weight room, give him a cheeseburger.
everybody keeps saying give him some Culvers or whatever. But yeah, and then another thing too, also like you mentioned earlier, Malcolm DeWalt the fourth, but it's similar thing with him and Neil with the 3-cone. But his film is pretty good. On film, he doesn't look like the agility is an issue, but when everything else is like very Packersy. So we'll see if maybe they make an exception for him, like late day 3 or something like that. He's obviously not predicted to go high. And then another guy actually I think was a pretty good fit, and I'm pretty sure they had him in for a visit. Was Cameron Preston from Wake Forest.
Yep.
Again, another guy that pretty much hits all their thresholds. The weight is a couple pounds lighter than they want, but he's not far off 190 even. And his film is actually pretty good. And you can really see like his arms are almost 32 inches, and they show on film he's able to get his arms in there and knock away passes and stuff like that. Of course, playing at Wake Forest or whatever, and before that he was at a FCS school, so he's still a little bit of a developmental guy. He probably still needs a year or something like that, but take him on D3, let him play special teams for a year, and then see what you get out of him like by year 2, year 3.
Would you say this is probably a pretty bad year to need corner?
For where the Packers are picking, yeah. If they if they had a top 15 pick, I would say no, there's some guys, but at 52, yeah, it's not. I mean, as far as what fit their thresholds, there's not much. I mean,
is there anything athletically for Chris Johnson that makes you nervous for a Packers fit?
No. I mean, he didn't do the agility testing, but on film, I didn't see any issues with his agility and change of direction or anything like that. So, and I think I would say he probably plays maybe even a little bit tiny bit faster than he tested. I would say maybe like a 4.38. Like I would say like he plays like. So, yeah, I don't think anything on there knocks him off their board, athletically at least.
The chat is talking about Devin Moore. What are your biggest concerns with Devin Moore here? I see that you're obviously the injury history is what everybody goes to first with why he's fallen so much. But is there anything else?
That's the main thing. Just he's had two shoulder surgeries, which will probably scare off Packers fans because of the other last time they took a really tall corner, and he has shoulder surgeries, and that didn't end well. And then he's had some other minor injuries. He only started for 1 year this past year because his freshman year and his sophomore year, he missed much time with injuries. So yeah, and then he does seem a little stiff on film, like a little leggy, like he's high hipped and stuff like that. I don't think it's as bad as Takario Davis's stiffness, or probably not even as stiff as Price Sock, but there's a little bit of stiffness there. But yeah, the injuries and surgeries, I don't think the Pack and the lack of playing time, really just 1 year to start out. I just don't know if the Packers would take the chance on him as far as where he's going to end up going, type of thing.
Right now, he's consensus player 100 on the big board. So, if you're looking at, you'd have to take him in the 3rd round. Certainly feels way too rich for the injury history. But if he were to fall to maybe like the 5th round, I think at that point, you look at the upside with him and say, hey, yeah, there are injury concerns that make us very nervous, but it's probably worth the risk for the cost of a 5th round pick.
Yeah, because if it doesn't work out, then oh well, 5th round pick, not too big of a deal.
Ayers says Neil being a bit slow in transitions checked out from what I saw on tape. Ayers says Moore isn't really stiff at all. It's not super fluid, but it's decent enough. He's light-footed, so it works out for a taller guy.
I find, like I said, I find a bit high hipped. So I think his transitions a little bit stiffer. But I mean, like I said, they're not. I don't find them as stiff as the Carl Davis or Price Socks, but there's a little bit.
I don't see
So,
Charles Demings on here.
Oh yeah, Demings is likely. Oh, I know he came in for the 30 visit, but yeah, I took him off because his 3-cone was pretty bad. It was trying to remember. It was like a 7. It was like a 7.28 or something like that, or a 7.3, something like that.
Oof.
Yeah, Demings.
I mean, I liked his film. I mean, I would.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would do fine in Green Bay, but I just don't think he's a player that would take with that 3-cone.
Demings 3-cone was a. What was his 3-cone? 7.28?
Yeah, on the right. Yeah, it was because he was on my board.
I just Googled Charles Demings 3-cone, and I found
7.2
a tweet from Brian Maffey.
There you go.
From Brian Maffey was on the first page of Google results for Charles Demings 3-cone. So 7.28.
I saw that too.
This is way outside Green Bay's threshold. Oh, you DM'd it to me?
I saw 7.2 on PFF's page. He said 7.2 at his pro day. Still pretty bad.
So Davison Igbinosin has been off of your board for a while now. He's still a guy that a lot of people in the Packers sphere are talking about, but he's got 3 different things: the weight, the vert, and the shuttle that are significantly outside of where the Packers would be looking. So despite being a big-bodied, kind of speedy guy, he's been off your board for kind of a while.
No, I mean, he's still technically on the board, but yeah, like those 3 things plus his history of penalties I have a feeling it's going to scare off the Packers. But I mean, those things that are in red, doesn't mean they're necessarily like way over. It just means they're like borderline, or like they're just barely over where it might be a thing that they accept. But yeah, those 3 things together is like kind of.
What's the disqualifier for Dalen Everett?
Everett
just that he didn't have a 3-cone, or
yeah, he didn't do the agilities, but he's not. Yeah, that's why that says no one there, just because he didn't do the agilities.
Yeah,
so he's not.
I keep thinking
incomplete.
Yeah, incomplete. Yeah.
Where's your Anthony Hill? Let's see. Yeah, Anthony Hill and Dalen Everett to me feel like red. Circle them, underline them 3 times. Right in the crosshairs for the Packers at pick 52. Feels like it's gonna be one of those 2 guys. I just get more and more convinced of it the more I look at the rest of the class. There's so many guys I'd rather have at 52 than either of those 2, but I'm getting more and more convinced it's gonna be one of those 2 guys.
I don't think they take Hill at 52. I just I know it in the thing in there, like he's a little bit stiff, and in coverage he's not very good and stuff like that. So I think that's something that might worry them a little bit, that they might pass on him at least that early.
Drew says Brian seems to hate Anthony Hill.
No, I mean, I just see him as a day 3 player. That's basically it.
Barham's been kind of a riser too as this outside linebacking.
Jay-Sean Barham, yeah. Jake really likes him as an off-ball linebacker as opposed to an edge rusher.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can do both. I think he can be one of those hybrid guys.
I feel like I've always, when I think about like a lot of Gutekunst's picks, he always seems to gravitate, or he has gravitated a lot towards players who've been draft risers rather than, somebody who's just fallen to him. And so like Quay Walker coming up the board, or like Matthew Golden had like a late rise in the draft process. So
Eric Stokes is kind of the poster boy for this one. You look at, he was like a month before the draft, he was like a late second, maybe a third round consensus, and just skyrocketed right before the draft. And obviously, a big factor that is thinking from the NFL teams making its way out to the general public. But you know, it's not like the NFL teams were like, you know, lower on him previously and then change their opinion on him.
It's like a good combine leads to more eyes, and then people see the tape and they're like, yeah, he is pretty good. And then they're like, let's move him up a few spots. And
yeah, well, I mean, it's also more like the media catching up to like teams and stuff like that, like getting information from their contacts, which is most of the time our agents anyway. But yeah, that's why you see like, oh, you know, someone on like ESPN being like, oh, you know, player X is moving up draft boards. It's like 2 weeks before the draft. It's like that's not true. Like draft boards are set before then. They're not moving up the draft boards. It's just you're getting the media person's getting information about it, and so like that's how they're wording it. So
it's leaking out slowly.
Oh, yeah, shooting up draft boards, but just not NFL scout draft boards. Just
media
draft boards. Yeah. Drew wants to know about Charlotte linebacker Reed Williford. Does he have good tape? 6'7" 3-cone, says Drew, is pretty sexy.
Him, I haven't gone to watch doing a deep dive on his film. From what I can remember, the little bit I watched the Charlotte, he moves well on film from what I can remember. So I mean the athleticism does translate to the field. I just haven't been able to sit down and do a deep dive on him.
Daryl says Jake Rodriguez will be a draft steal for sure. So let's see, where is Rodriguez on here? I would think he'd be right at the top. Here he is. Rodriguez. So you note short arms for him. How big of a deal is that at linebacker? Seems like that'd be a position where it'd be a little bit bigger of a deal. These are kind of significantly short arms compared to the rest of this class here, I'm noticing.
For the Packers, it's not as big of a thing. Like if you go through all the different positions on this board, you can see like there's tons of linebackers, and it's just because the Packers, their thresholds on linebacker are pretty, what's the word? Broad, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Lax, or you can say lax, whatever. Yeah, like they're not super specific about it.
It's also a pretty deep linebacker class, I feel like. You're getting guys like Red Murdoch, like readily available late on day 3.
Yeah. But I mean, even the previous years I've done it, the linebacker list is always somewhat long. There have been other years when I made it. I think was it last year? It was last year or the year before. It was really long. There's a lot of guys that fit their thresholds, but yeah, it's always going to the linebackers are always going to be a long list, and then the interior offensive linemen are always going to be a long list.
Let's talk about a couple of linebackers that we've talked about on this pod kind of a lot. One would be Jake's favorite, Caleb Elamzor out of TCU. I'm noticing no red in this profile.
Yep. No red. He fits.
Pretty exciting. Hey, you know what? Jake has a good eye. He's got a good eye. Now, Jaden Duggar, so this is a guy who most people hadn't heard of in Packers social media until he came in for a visit with the Packers last month. Played at Louisiana Lafayette. And since coming across my page because of the visit, I've kind of fallen in love with him. I think this is one of the more interesting guys that they have brought in for visits this year. They brought in guys like TJ Quinn, who I'm just like, I don't even know what we're doing here. But Jaden Duggar, I'm pretty excited about. I think he's got a fun personality too, but I think he plays with like a violence that excites me.
Yeah, he's got a kind of an interesting background story. I'm not sure if you looked into it, but he actually played at Georgetown, which people think like Georgetown, you're just thinking basketball, but obviously. And then it just seems like Georgetown's had a couple guys lately. Him and then I forget his name. The defensive lineman from Wake Forest that transferred over to Texas Tech for next year. I gotta look him up real quick because it's gonna bother me. Mateen Ibarraga, I forgot how to pronounce it, but his film was pretty good. But he's gonna be a guy to watch out for next year. But with Duggar, he, like I said, he started at Georgetown, and he actually started out there playing safety. So, you have a safety with 35-inch arms, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, so
some people are calling him the next Sonny Styles.
I mean, he's like a Sonny Styles light in a way. Obviously, not near as good.
Great value brand Sonny Styles. How's that?
Yeah, you can call it like that. Yeah, but I mean, he didn't move to linebacker until 2024, so he's only been a linebacker for like 2 years. So he's obviously still learning and stuff like that. But there's been people that have talked about him moving to edge, because some people have felt like his film at linebacker, like his what do you call it? Like his instincts are kind of lacking. So, and then with that size and the length, some people think maybe you add 10 pounds onto him or something like that and move him to edge. So, I mean, there's some thought he could end up being an edge.
At least 10 pounds, yeah. Yeah. I don't hate it, especially with those long arms. That 35-inch arms are just crazy for... Look at the rest of this class. You guys with 5-inch shorter arms in this class.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Daryl wants to know if Jake Duggar is Max Duggar's brother. So I know of Jaden Duggar and Max Duggan. I'm not sure who Jake or Max Duggar are, but they might be brothers.
Max Duggan, that's a good pull right there. No,
TCU quarterback. Heisman
finalist.
Didn't do enough for you in the big leagues in the Big 12 to.
Well, you know how the Big 12 is. It's not the Big 12 is not real football, they say.
I don't say that. I'll say ACC is not real football, but hey, we like the Big 12 around here.
No, I do too. I was just joking. I think the ACC is not bad.
The biggest thing is whether you're from the north or the south. We like northern football teams around here.
Yeah, the northern. The northern ACC teams are not that good, but yeah.
Drew says, I feel like linebacker is a very difficult position to play. IQ is very important. I'll add an addendum onto there. I think it's also true that it's a very hard position to scout. NFL GMs are not good at scouting linebackers. You look at where the guys are drafted who end up being good. It doesn't correlate really well with the value spent to go get them and the value they return. NFL GMs are not that much better than us.
Well, I think like the transition from college linebacker to NFL linebacker it's a bigger jump than I think some people think or want to admit or what have you. Because college, your coverage responsibilities are basically, zone drop, that's it. There's no man coverage basically. You're playing these funky 3-3-5 defenses sometimes. Sometimes you're what do you call it? You guys playing like basically almost like an overhang role. He's not really playing a true linebacker. And sometimes those guys, they transition to a true linebacker role and it just doesn't work for them. It just doesn't click. So I think it's just one of those things where depending on the defense you're playing, it can be a bigger transition than it seems like it.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to do a mock draft before we get out of here?
Let's do it.
Brian, does that sound like fun to you?
You guys are the bosses. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Ringing endorsement of our process here. All right, so Brian, before we close this real quick, this is the mock draft that we did with Jake. Jake topped on for 10 minutes to he stole away from a party to come do this crazy party scene.
A party.
He just didn't want to get fired from this show. So this is the mock draft that we just did right before. So we're gonna do another one here and crank the speed up. Leave on realistic.
This time we're going to be somebody else from the NFC North and see how badly we can make their team.
We're gonna just keep trading up and trading up and trading up for the Bears.
And then we're gonna draft a kicker.
We're gonna go get pick number 1, and we're gonna take Ty Simpson.
There you go. Good idea.
Gosh, this darn thing's getting me again.
You gotta sign up.
I can sign up when I'm not live streaming and sharing my screen.
Multitasking, JJ, multitasking.
Share screen. Is this the right one? Boom. There's only like 13 clicks I have to do to get this stupid thing on my screen. 7 round, Packers, fast speed, start draft. Here we go. So, Chris, I think the rule should be, since you and I already got to do one, the rule should be Brian gets to be the tiebreaker.
Okay. See, then you guys are going to debate about it, and then I'll be the tiebreaker.
Who do you like, Brian, among these guys who are available here? What position do you want to look at 52?
Either corner or defensive tackle.
All right, we'll pull up both of those for you. Keith Abney, Keontae Scott, Dominique Orange.
And these guys don't like
Who
anybody.
do you like here?
It's hard. The fact that R. Mason Thomas was there is kind of interesting.
I thought that was interesting as well.
And Malachi Lawrence going 51, they're probably both gone. But
Well, you know, if Malachi Lawrence went at 51, Jake would break down sobbing.
He would.
He'd be sobbing into his new mustache.
You need to make sure you need to make sure the AI clips this, and so he can see that.
I was just
Here,
watching the
I
UCF
just
film.
marked the timestamp for myself so I can go clip it.
Good. You can send it to Jake.
I was just watching Malachi Lawrence's tape again. And I was just like, I am not surprised this guy is going so high. Being mocked into the first round now. Yeah, he's got all the tools for it. So.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me either.
Drew points out that Miami traded up to snipe us. Yeah, look at that. Trade up.
Yeah.
Does this mean they traded up from 47? I think that's what it means.
How would
Traded
that'd be trade down?
back.
No, trade
Traded
down.
back.
Trade back.
I don't know how this works. I don't know how this works. Oh, here. We can see. Carolina.
Traded up.
From 51.
They traded for Basantis. Interesting.
They traded up to take Basantis, and then Miami got.
So Miami didn't actually take him?
Yeah, they got an extra pick at 83.
No, Miami took
Miami got
Miami got
51 and 83.
and Carolina got 40.
It's weird because the
So Carolina,
team
okay.
pictures are on the opposite side. Of
Yeah, the pictures need to be flopped.
Yeah, that is what's throwing me off.
Yeah, well, I mean, now that would be very Green Bay South to trade back and still take contact.
Yes. Daryl wants to take Lee Hunter. Yeah, pretty sure Lee Hunter's not available. Would like to if we could, but can't do that. Where did he go? Lee Hunter went 42 to the Chargers. Let's see. So R. Mason Thomas. Who's sticking out to you guys? I'm vetoing Derek Moore. He can't be a Packer. He sucks.
Zachariah Branch.
Rutledge.
Oof. I would happily take Rutledge over Zachariah Branch. Brian, how you feel about some Keelan Rutledge at 52?
Kuiper said Zachariah Branch is a first-round pick, though.
Yeah. All right, we can take Zachariah Branch then.
If you want, just
Brian Murphy's a super fan.
He has the thing. If Zachariah Branch goes to the third round, he's going to pull out his hair. So we have to help him. Help him lose his hair.
Rutledge is fine.
Dunker's there.
Well, would you rather have? I'd probably rather have Rutledge than Dunker, but who would you rather have between those two guys?
Rutledge.
Where are you guys at on Jake Slaughter? I'm super high on Jake Slaughter, but it feels like the shine has worn off of him lately.
Kind of like better. I like Slaughter though. I feel like they're kind of in that same. Like I would just coin flip because I'd be so undecided if I was trying to pick between them.
Daryl wants to take Lane Robinson or I think he was Landon Robinson or Caleb Proctor. I mean, I would not be mad about taking Caleb Proctor at 52. I think we can get him at 84.
Yeah.
Landon Robinson, I think we could wait significantly later than 52 to get him.
Oh, for sure.
But I say let's circle Landon and try and grab him in a later round. All right, so is anybody tempted to go R. Mason Thomas here?
Not really.
All right, so I think we're in agreement that we are doing Keelan Rutledge. I'm a big Rutledge fan. I'm excited about this. Who do you guys like better, Rutledge or Trey Zune?
They're both different. Because Zoom could give you 5 position versatility. But Rutledge, I think, is a little. I feel like Rutledge is a better mover and a little more physical, a little more aggressive and stuff. So I think it depends.
I find myself thinking that Zune is the better player, but that Rutledge fixes more of our immediate problems with our interior offensive line situation.
Yeah, because I mean, Zune, more than likely you're moving with the center. He's a pretty big, tall center, but he can play some guard too. So I mean, I think Rutledge might play sooner. You know, Rutledge also only has 8 toes.
Rutledge has 8 toes. What did he do the other 2?
He cut them off. No, I'm just kidding.
Was he born without him or
no,
an accident?
Car accident. He lost him in a car accident, basically. He was in a really bad car accident in 2024, and then like something happened. I have to try and find the whole story about it, but something happened where he got out of the car, climbed out of the car or something. He was walking around like, and his foot got cut or something, and it's like the fluids, like there was some fluid leaking from the car and it got into the cut and he got an infection and something, and he was in the hospital for like,
oh my gosh,
a few weeks. Yeah, he had like a PICC line, and they were like constantly pumping him full of like antibiotics and stuff. So like, yeah, it was not a good situation.
That's wild. I like my guys facing some adversity of lost toes.
And that was like in the summer before the 2024 season. He played the next season. He played like every game. So it's like crazy that he was able to get back to play shape and all that stuff.
Who's on the edge? Who's available at edge? Yeah.
You're telling me about Rutledge's missing toes from this car accident, and I'm picturing like he's going along, has this accident, metal shears and stuff, and cuts off each of his pinky toes. He loses 1 toe from each foot.
It's something, I don't remember which specific toes it was. I haven't, but yeah, they said something like it. Yeah.
Joe says you're saying he can only count to 18.
There you go. Let's see, I just looked up real quick. 2023, actually, that he had it. His SUV rolled multiple times, causing a severe near amputation injury to his right foot. And then he has second surgery because there was an infection. And yeah, severely broken left foot, toes, or whatever, which almost caused him to lose his foot.
Well, here's what we need to do. We'll get Green Bay to draft him. He's played really well. We'll give him that second contract so he can afford toe transplant surgery.
There you go.
All right, you guys ready to make this pick of Rutledge, or is there somebody else you're thinking about?
No, that's it.
All right. Rutledge it is at 52. And then we'll see if we can get Caleb Proctor at 84. All right. Looks like he's going to be available. Caleb Proctor. Where the heck is Caleb Proctor? There he is. Oh, they got him. Yeah, 111.
Chris McClellan.
Makes me sad that we're passing up Trey Zune. Oh, you want to go Chris McClellan here over Caleb Proctor?
What is he in here? 103.
103 for McClellan, 111 for Caleb Proctor.
100.
All these guys are not going to be available
in the next pick, right?
Yeah, so we're missing out on Grayson Halton, Chris McClellan. Probably still missing out on Rayshon Benny. It's going to be slim pickings after this. It's definitely not. There's a couple later guys who we can grab, but it's going to slim out real fast here. I wish we had a couple third round picks. I would really like to be picking a few times in the third round this year. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Drew says, isn't Proctor the guy with 6 knee surgeries?
No, it's Mason Riker.
Think about that?
No, it's Mason Riker that has surgeries. Yeah,
that's right.
Does he even have a knee anymore? Is he a bionic man? Maybe he has an advantage. 6 surgeries.
Yep. We got a guy in the chat named Phoenix Hoffman with a cash emoji. If you're trying to send us money, we accept Cash App and Venmo. Packer Project is the username on both of those. Joe said if he had that extensive issue.
Issue.
You talking about what are you talking about here, Joe?
What are you talking about?
They're talking about the toes? If you had the extensive issue with the toes? What are you talking about?
You don't need toes to play football. You don't need teeth either.
No, that's hockey. That's hockey. You don't need teeth.
Not having teeth makes you a better hockey player.
Mm.
My vote here is
more aerodynamic.
I think it makes you less aerodynamic when you're missing teeth, though, because now you created a spot for the wind to go whistling in.
Just go along with the joke, JJ. Come on.
But the missing toes, more aerodynamic. Missing teeth, less aerodynamic.
Yeah, those missing toes, it cuts off a few extra, a little bit of weight, so you're able to move a little smoother.
If you got really fat toes.
Yeah.
Joe said Mafi said he almost lost the foot, then had an infection that caused the loss of toes. Yeah,
Yep.
but that was a couple of years ago. He's played a lot of football since then. Like he's fully recovered from that. He just can't count to 20. So I'm a little tempted. I don't like Dalen Everett very much, but I think the Packers probably really do. I would be a little tempted to go Dalen Everett here. My heart says Caleb Proctor. My head says Dalen Everett. And then I also, I have to shush my heart up from noticing that Grayson Halton is still here because Packers probably aren't touching him, even though I love him to death.
I feel like if I'm taking the best football player, it'd be Grayson Halton. But Dylan Everett is like the need. And I'm just like, even though there's like the corners, I feel like they just don't drop off. It's just like a slow, steady decline.
Yeah.
And like, this is kind of your last chance at a quality player of a defensive, 3 or 5 tech that we don't really need, but it's just like, if you're going best football player, I guess. What's a wide receiver who's left there?
Yeah, I looked at wide receiver for a second here. I'm not big on Bryce Lance. I know a lot of Packers fans are, probably because of the North Dakota State overlap with the fan bases.
We'll see.
Jacoby Lane and Stribling are the two guys I would really be circling here. And then also a little bit later, Tyron Montgomery I really like a lot. So, honestly, my thinking is mostly there's 3 guys in a row right here. Where'd they go? Trey Zune, Jacoby Lane, Caleb Proctor. This is kind of where my eyeballs
don't want
really
Markel
going.
Bell?
I mean, I like Markel Bell. I just don't like him anywhere near as much as I like these guys. Markel Bell in like the 4th or 5th, I'm all over. I'm all over.
He was like 300 for the longest time, and even after the season was completed, people were like,
belongs.
Yeah, when people are like, "Oh, he can do things," and then he's 100. I don't even know what is he on MDB. Like that's just a little crazy.
Who, from Markel Bell?
Yeah, it reminds me of
Markel Bell reminds me of DeJuan Jones.
Yes, I was going to say the gigantic Ohio State right tackle.
Yeah, and he hasn't been very good for the Browns.
One away right now.
Markel Bell's not been, or not Markel Bell. DeJuan Jones has not been very good for the Browns either.
No, he's not.
Oh my God, 108. That's wild.
Yeah.
No, DeJuan Jones was the guy with hands the size of trash can lids. So my vote here would be Caleb Proctor. Chris, what's your vote?
I kind of like Julian Neal. I don't know. 84? Maybe it's too late for him. I don't know.
Brian, what's your vote?
My heart says Devin Marshall, but my brain says Julian Neal.
Oh, it's 2 for Julian Neal. All right. Well, I'm outvoted. 2 for Julian Neal. Here we go. Julian Neal at 84.
Are you kidding, Bob?
And there go all my guys. They're all gone. All right. Cole Payton is here. I would love Cole Payton. Sam Roush, Cage Casey. I feel like we're going to end up going Cage Casey here. That just feels like the direction we'll go. You don't like Cage Casey?
Not for Green Bay, no. I think he's a good player overall, but I don't think he's a good fit.
What do you not like about him as a fit for? What do you not like about Cage Casey as a fit for the Green Bay Packers?
He's just not a very good athlete. even if you like go to RAS and switch him to guard, he's still not that good of an athlete. So, yeah, he's a bit stiff and stuff like that. Just even with the Packers going more gap and power stuff, they still like guys who are athletic and can move, and he's just not their type.
You're not saying you don't like him. Like you think he can and probably will be a good NFL player. You just think that the Packers are not going to be interested in him.
Yeah, he's not a fit really for what they look for.
You're breaking my heart, man. As a Cage Casey super fan, you're breaking my heart.
Yeah, but you're an Ohio State super fan too, so just draft one Ohio State player.
I'm trying to think actually which Ohio State players do I even like in this class. Like it's like Will Kazmarek. I mean, obviously Sonny Styles, but
Caden Curry.
I like Caden as far as like a later edge guy. Yeah.
I like the way he plays, but his arms are so short. I'm just like,
I don't hate Taiwan Malone as a
DFA.
late day 7 or UDFA type. I think he's a guy who certainly has some limitations, but could find a decent career in the NFL as a rotational.
Or what about CJ Donaldson?
West Virginia legend CJ Donaldson. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm. It looks like they can't filter by school in here. Oh,
or Oni Onwa. He was in for a visit with Green Bay. So
hey, get out of my face with Oni Onwa.
Malik McLean.
What did you say?
Malik McLean.
Malik McLean? Who the heck
He
is
was in
Malik
it.
McLean?
He was an ASU receiver. He was like a former 5-star, but he's just never been. He's never been the guy here at ASU.
He had freaky pro day, but yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
He ran
heard of him.
Oh yeah,
He's 766.
Yeah, so
He sounds
had
like a 7th-round Packer, though.
he had
like
34-inch. He has 34-inch arms. At 6'4", 205, ran a 4.46. Had a 40-inch vert, 11'4" broad jump, 6.78 3-cone. So just like freaky testing, but just as a player, he's just not very good.
Daryl says Jacoby Lane has 83% catching, Ted Hurst 62% catching. I'm going to take your word on those numbers. I'm not intimately familiar with 83% and 62% catching as stats, but Ted Hurst, I will say, like, his productivity numbers are not going to blow you away. Jacoby Lane, I'm very high on. I like both guys. Probably given the choice between the two of them, actually would go Jacoby Lane. I know Jake would go Ted Hurst, but
I'll go Hurst too.
A lot.
I actually don't like Ted Hurst. I'm going to Eric McAllister.
You don't like Ted Hurst at all?
Eric McAllister, and I'm going to tank all the personalities in that wide receiver room. Everyone's just going to be so toxic.
Everybody getting arrested.
He seems, I like watching his interviews. I'm like, he seems like such a pleasant person. Like, how does he get an assault charge? But anything can happen when you're,
Yeah, well, I mean, and these guys get media training and stuff like that too. So,
I felt the same way about Mike Green when he was doing his.
Oh yeah,
this guy loves the camera.
So I'm looking through here, trying to figure out like where do we want to go with this pick 120. It feels like we really just missed out on a nice batch of guys. Mm-hmm. We had the Eli Raridan question earlier, which was what is the upside with Raridan? Raridan's like mostly a productivity guy.
He's kind of a tall, long, stiff guy who's a decent blocker. He's had two. No, he's had 2 ACL surgeries also.
Onyedin, one dime, and Regis and Robinson.
Yeah, we do need to keep Robinson circled here. I would say I like the way this defensive tackle board is kind of falling. There's still some decent options here. I I might double dip there in the next 2 rounds here. Do you guys like Adame Tucker? I don't like him very much, but I know Jake likes him a lot.
That was a late.
I haven't watched any Western Michigan.
You call yourself a draft fan. You gotta be ashamed of yourself.
Some of the smaller schools I'll just skip over, and then I find myself surprised later in the year when
I mean,
oh,
you didn't even watch him when he was at Houston. How dare you?
Wisniewski.
Oh yeah, did I forget Wisniewski? No, I got him on there. All right, so let's go ahead and make our pick from this list. My vote would be Cole Payton, but there are some defensive tackles and corners who make a lot of sense here. What direction do you guys want to go?
I'd rather get a defensive tackle or corner just because, like, as much as I like Cole Payton, I just don't know if he's going to give us any value from playable snaps. Like, is he going to be our QB2 and play if Love gets injured?
That's the vision. That's the vision.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But if he
Is he
gets
gonna play tight end?
Yeah, if he gets beaten out by who do they have right now? I forgot.
You don't care about QB2 until you don't have QB1 anymore. I'm going to tell you what. I liked the Malik Willis era. I did not like the Tim Boyle era. We'd rather not go back to the Tim Boyle era.
You got rid of
Don't
it.
go back to the Tim Boyle Laser Show.
Dude, screw Tim Boyle. That was just the worst.
You got Ritter. Maybe Anthony Richardson comes in and plays like Wildcat. You know.
Sure, I'm fine with Richardson. I like Ritter, but you know we're like this close to rocking and rolling with some Kyle McCord type garbage as our QB2. Count me out of that.
So far on Kyle McCord.
I'm very far out on Kyle McCord, but I know we are very close to the Packers making us sit through Kyle McCord QB2. They made us sit through Tim Boyle. Would not put it. Iowa Joe, you shut your mouth. We're not. No.
Gronowski? Are we going to draft Gronowski?
I'd rather Gronowski than Kyle McCord, but I'm not in on Gronowski either. I liked Gronowski okay at South Dakota. And then he went to Iowa, and I'm just like, I know that it's Iowa. I know it's the stinking Iowa offense, but
still,
and nobody looks good there.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I had expected more. We have a vote for Sam Roush. Chat is wanting to know about Justin Jolly. Did the Packers visit with him? No, the Packers did not have him in for one of those 30 visits, but they talked to him. They talked to everybody.
They like zoomed him or something like that.
Yes, they did. They did. Yeah. That's correct. All right, Chris, you want to go DT? Which DT do you want to look at?
I'd either go Regis or Onyedim.
Okay.
I think Regis
Brian
is probably the bigger interior.
I mean,
okay.
Regis, I mean, whether
position you want to see?
I
want to just for the fun of it, is go with Jimmy Rolder.
Jimmy Rolder.
Yeah.
Add him on here. So Jimmy Rolder or
is he on there? Oh, there he is.
Where the heck? There he is.
What do they have him at?
Right,
2 something? Jeez.
I think we're gonna. Chris, what do you say to letting Brian have this one since he didn't get to be part of our first mock draft? We'll give him Jimmy Rolder.
I feel special.
Thank you.
Like it.
Does that mean
he's still available from our list?
Does that mean I have to give you guys a dono for that?
I'd rather take someone
you gave us
taken, so we get more like used to the feel. So it's less disappointing when you don't get your favorites.
This is the best strategy. That's 100% correct. And Brian, no, you don't have to give us a dono. You're giving us something much more valuable. Your time. You're here on this pod with us. I keep expecting you to dip out, too. I can't believe you're still here. All right, looking at who's left. Look, Chris, you can still get either of your guys. You want to go with... Is Regis who you wanted to go with?
Let's go Onyedim. Onyedim.
Tyler Onyedim, Texas A&M at 153. He is 150 on this mock draft sim. We're taking him at 153.
We're getting some value there. Three picks in the 6th.
Well, since you guys got the last two, I kind of feel like maybe I should get a swing here. A whole bunch of guys available here. We haven't done anything at edge, receiver, running back. Even though we got Rolder, I'm still thinking about taking a swing at linebacker with Elarm Zor.
Or take Hendrick if you want.
Take who?
Trent Hendrick. He's probably not even on their board. He's the JMU linebacker. His film's pretty. His film's actually pretty good.
I've never heard of him. Trent Hendrick
Yeah, he was in for a 30 visit.
with the Packers?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't hear this. Hold on. Trent
He's not on MDB
Hendrick,
either.
Packers.
Pretty.
Wow.
Last time I remember. Now you got me questioning myself. Was he actually in for a visit?
Did he redeclare? Did he declare?
Easton
he's the
Butler
draft
says JMU linebacker Trent Hendrick met with the Packers at his pro day.
Oh, it's pro day. Oh, yeah. Or I think it's something else.
Here,
But still,
you
his
guys
film
wanna-
was pretty
you
good.
guys want to see a picture? Here we go. Here's Trent Hendrick. Handsome looking man wearing that JMU jersey.
You gotta like
Yeah.
guys who have some gold, right? It's like they're just one
Gold
color
is good.
away.
But look at that. Look at that. That's that height and weight. And then it's not on there, but his arm length. He's got almost 32-inch arms.
He's got a
So he's short, but he's got long arms.
hand
Short and
length of
skinny.
arm. He's got a hand length of the arm. I was
You
going
know
to say
what
he has an arm length of hand, but normally it's on the other side, right? So I've seen so many of these images. And
I actually have some cut-ups of him. I gotta put up.
Really?
Yeah, I gotta put him up on Twitter. I haven't got around to it.
RIS website is broken. I wanted to pull up. Here we go. It's finally loading. I wanted to run him as a safety and just see because he's so small.
He moves
We're gonna
pretty
convert
well,
him.
so he might look good for. He might show good for safety on RAS.
Well, we'll go back to the mock draft here. We're not taking Trent Hendrick here because he's not even available in the sim for us to take him. So
Max
Yeah, I figured he
Llewellyn.
if the RIS website ever loads, then we'll have to run him as a safety. All right, let's rapid fire these last couple ones. So go ahead. You're Brian. You're out on Charles Demings, yes?
Well, I mean, as far as a fit with the Packers, yeah. I mean, I like him and like his film. So I know when I say that stuff, people, especially on Twitter, take it the wrong way. Like I'm saying the guy sucks or whatever. I'm just saying he's not like a fit for what they like. But I like his film. Like I said, I think he would fit in well in Green Bay. But yeah, as far as what their preferences and stuff, no.
When you do the Packer fits, how far back are you going? Is it just under Gutekunst or is it Gutekunst?
I'll go all the way back to Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah. Through Tom, or yeah, I can't remember where it was at, but I wrote an article where I did what I could when I pulled up guys drafted under Wolf as far as their testing. I did write an article about it from a while ago. There's not a super lot of information available from back then, but it's out there somewhere. I can't remember where it's at though.
I'm going to go ahead and take Landon Robinson here at 160. And then I'm thinking, well, I was going to say then we try and snag one of these corners, but now I'm thinking there's more DTs who are likely to be available. Maybe we should go corner here. Go Prysock here at 160.
Take the guy you think is best.
Oh, Prysock. Oh, they're all going. Whoa! All right, so Jordan Vandenberg. You guys like Jordan Vandenberg?
At 201, that's fine. Yeah.
I'll take Jordan Vandenberg here. So we have 2 picks left here. I would bet we're going to be all out of our starred guys. Well, Andre Fuller's still here. But didn't we already take him today, Chris?
We did.
Ooh, Will Kazmarek at 236 here feels nice. What do you guys think about that? Will Kazmarek, really good blocking tight end. Oh, I know Chris likes Carmona. Fernando Carmona, the guard from Arkansas.
Fernando Marcona.
Nowakowski, a little smaller.
Nowakowski, Micah
I don't know.
Morris.
I
Draft wet Jen just to make Joe happy.
Joe would be happy. We haven't taken. Isn't it Weechin? I think it's pronounced Weechin. We haven't taken him in a while.
Kill him.
Come on, we need one more guest on here. Come on.
No. Yeah, they'll be annoying right now. Stop.
He's not David.
Who we're taking Nowakowski, you said?
My girls are getting bored.
Sure. He's a little smaller. I think Kazmierek might
Back,
be.
I guess, yeah.
All right, Nowakowski here at 236. Brian, I'm going to let you make our final pick here.
Ooh, I feel special.
Kazmierek is still here. Weechin, Morris, Max Bredesen. Who do you like?
Michael Heldman, the edge rusher.
Was Heldman still here? He probably is. Yeah, he is.
Did we take any edge yet? I don't think we did.
We did not.
Yeah, we can take Heldman. That's fine.
All right. There you go. Wrapping up with small school guys, CMU, Michael Heldman. Hey, we're going to let you guys get out of here. Brian, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Everybody go follow Brian Maffey on Twitter. That's what? B-Maffey NFL on X. And
Twitter.
Subscribe to his Substack. Brian, we appreciate your time. Chris, thank you for joining us. Chris is at Extrapolated on X. And also go check him out on Substack as well and catch his next article that he writes for the Packer Project. Love you guys. Appreciate you. We're going to sign off so that Brian can go hang out with his kids. In the words of the late, great Mr. Ed Policy, go Pack